Okay, I started a stream. Need to mute myself. Okay. Um. Yeah. So we can go through all this stuff. Let me actually take this stream. Maybe I'll throw it in announcements a few places. But I'm gonna save the stream like as a highlight.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
And then people can look at it later. Um. um should I at here or at everyone, or what do you think in the BWC server? Like here is
I
appropriate.
think this is it's fine to add everyone
Okay.
for this type of occurrence. I
Okay.
posted a note in the on the Bughouse Club and the BWC Club on chess.com that we're about to be streaming. So
Okay. Yeah. It's called an orientation stream. Threw it in announcements there. Okay. So yeah, probably no one's here yet, which is fine. But we
yeah, sure thing.
we can discuss some basics. I made a whole bunch of captures so that I wouldn't leak a bunch of stuff.
Okay. Good call. Good call.
Because usually I have to make sure I'm not leaking, I don't know, my bookmarks or my Discord servers or DMs or other things like that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we can go into a bunch of different stuff. Hey, Spellweaver official. Nothing wakes me up more than the voice of Snakes. Yeah, he is. Snakes has a very nice voice. Voice
Thank you.
for
Thank you.
voice for radio. I have a voice for newspaper, but we'll roll with that. So yeah, we can do some stuff like a few times as people ask about it. But like, so what do we want to look at first? We can look at chess.com. We can show people how to make a match. We can look at the brackets. We can look at the Discord. We can look at the results form. We can look at the calendar. We got a bunch of stuff to look at.
I think all of the like procedural stuff and basically how people set up matches, how people schedule this and all this, like we might want to wait a little bit before we do that, so that we're reaching a lot of people with that info.
Sure.
Because that's probably the most important to be able to play.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you want to spend maybe like 5 or 10 minutes just like I don't know, like talking about the tournament or talking about the
Sure.
brackets, and then okay, let's see. Let me pull up these brackets real quick.
Okay. Let me know which bracket we're looking at, and I will pull up the same one.
I guess let's start with the open. Let's look at the big boards real quick.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Chuck. Are you particularly excited about any of these groups?
Well, let me just pull it up. I want to get to where you are. So we're going to the open bracket. Is what we're going to look at. So let me actually pull that up. Okay. I'm going to. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so I am not at the open bracket. How do I make that work? I mean, I'm not leaking anything bad, luckily, but yeah. So
to you in the DM on
I am
Discord.
at. No. I know where it is. Like I have it open, but it's not. Okay, actually, I think if I do this, maybe it should. No. Okay, so this might be harder than I thought. All right.
It's pretty easy for me, Chuck.
Yeah, no. It's just showing it in OBS is a little bit hard. But that's okay. We'll make it work. Okay.
I can.
So yeah. No, I'm looking at it now. Okay, so this is the open bracket. And we're gonna put the link in the chat here. Hey, Cesar of the Brain. Hey, 4Player Chess. So 4Player Chess has a question about like the win by 2 situation at the end. But
ask him.
We'll get to that, but we just pulled up this bracket, so let's look at the bracket real quick. So first of all, we divided things up into groups, and each group has 5 or 6 teams in it, I believe, in the open section, and we have how many groups? We have up to L groups.
Yeah, we have 12 total groups. So basically, we took all of the registrants, we calculated their ratings using the formula for the tournament, and then we divided them into balanced groups based on seeding.
So everyone is asking about the one situation that we argued about for like literally an hour, and then decided that there was no way it's ever going to come up in like 500 games.
So badly. Like, understanding that it makes me look dumb, I want it to be a thing. So the situation we're talking about is one where a match is tied after 16 games, I believe. So for our tie breaks, you have to win by a total of 2 or more points. If the matches are tied after the normal amount of games, then you will keep playing until one team achieves a margin of victory of 2 or more. To prevent the matches from going until the end of time, we have a firm cutoff that once a team reaches exactly 16 points, that team is the winner of the match, even if the margin is only 1 point. So it's a very niche scenario where 2 teams are tied 15.5, and then they draw another game, and they both reach 16 simultaneously. And then they draw another game, and they're at 16.5 simultaneously. And in theory, they could draw until the end of time without ever reaching a match result. For anyone who's ever played the game of Bughouse, this isn't a thing. But I do hope that situation arises somehow, just because it would be incredibly funny.
It would. Let me see if I can. It is incredibly difficult to get to what I want to see here, but let's just try to look at this. Okay, so what we're basically looking at is match format. God, that didn't even get me where I wanted. I'm gonna close a bunch of these links because having these open does not seem to be helping me at all. Okay. Let's see. Okay. This is what we want to be looking at. So we're looking at match format for the info, and we could also look at the rules, which gets deeper into it. But we have 2 forum posts. We have one for the open section and one for the under 2000 section. This is the link for the open section, and it's what we're looking at on the screen. And we see some basic info. We see an introduction that talks about the fact that we're in the group stage, links to the rules document here, which gets into this in more detail. We have stuff about parents, explaining how you get your parents, scheduled matches, timeline, and then we have all the rules geeks are looking at this because they're looking at the one thing which is slightly unclear that is not going to happen in a million years. So basically, the basic format is our match format for the open section is 2-minute games and best of 16, which means you need to reach 9 points and win by 2. And they haven't even noticed that the 9 points thing is another point of ambiguity, because I mean, could you win by 2 with 8.5? I mean, I think you could, but yeah, if you don't win by 2 at 9 points, you go until the first player reaches 16 points. So they're saying, what if 2 players reach 16 points at the same time? Because they are at 15.5 to 15.5, and then there's a tie. What happens then? And that is the 1 point of ambiguity, and Scary Snakes is going to explain what we decided, because I don't even remember, because it is never going to happen.
Oh, I mean, you're going to play until a team wins.
Yeah, so basically, you keep playing until it's not a draw. Anyone who's played Bughouse ever knows that draws are super, super unlikely in Bughouse. Like, it's effectively impossible to stalemate. it's effectively online. Online, it's impossible for the clocks to end at the same time and have a draw. Over the board is quite often that you'll have like a flag on both boards and you'll say, all right, we'll call it a draw. So online, the only way you can draw is by repetition. So if you guys are doing repetitions over and over and over again, there is something seriously wrong with you. I suggest finding something else to do with your life. But like I remember on the free internet chess server, they would have your finger notes, which showed your ratings in various categories. Would also show your number of wins, lost, draws in each category. And I had friends who didn't play Bughouse, friends who played mostly Bullet or mostly Blitz, and they would say that I had a crazy low number of draws, but it was because I only played Bughouse, and draws like never happen. Yeah, you can't even offer a draw on chess.com.
Maybe it's just because we don't have a classical equivalent of Bughouse. Maybe we just need a long enough time control, and then people will be calculating, and we get a lot of drawing lines in Bughouse. Maybe that's it.
Maybe. Okay. Have we figured out this match format thing? Should we move on to something else, or do we need to explore that more?
Well, I find Chuck, could you explain to me what happens if two teams are tied at 16 games? I don't think I quite got that.
Okay, actually. If they're tied at 16 games, which again is never going to happen, then they play another game. And if they don't draw that, then whoever wins the game, like, wins the match. If they do draw that, they play another game. And, like, let's just calculate the percentage of, like, one draw. The one draw is, like, it's less than a 1 in 100 chance. So like 2 draws in a row would be like, let's just say 1 in 100 times 1 in 100. So that's like a 1 in 10,000 chance. And 3 draws, you multiply that by 1. It's not going to happen, guys.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But could you explain what happens if two teams are tied at 16 though?
Okay, well, so we've explained what happens if two teams are tied at 16 in the open section. But I think a lot of people are wondering, and this is a completely different question, what happens if two teams are tied at 14 points in the under 2,000 section? Because the under 2,000 section is 3-minute games with 0-second increments, and it's best of 14. So what happens in a situation where you get to a match score of 14-14 in the under 2,000 section? What I would suggest then is you play another game, and if it's a draw, you play another game, and you keep playing until someone wins.
Yeah, it'll be the same format as in the open section.
Right, except it's to 14 instead of 16.
Well, yeah.
All right. So I think we spent about 10 minutes talking about something that's never going to happen. Are there other questions about other things that are never going to happen? Seafloor says he has a question. What happens if 15.5 to 15.5 then all draws? It's just do we need to make like a special prize category for someone who can draw like 20 games in a row?
No, only because there would be collusion. If that could actually happen organically, I would personally deliver a prize to that person. I would fly to their home and just give them a hug, which is the greatest prize of all.
That would be quite a great prize. All right. Well, what do we want to look at next?
Okay, real quick, because I think this was a question from Bora Boy earlier in the chat. He asked if all of the games would be streamed. I know Chuck is going to try and cover as many as he can.
And all of the games will not be streamed because there's a crazy number of games. I'm going to stream as many as I realistically can, but I am not a robot. I do other things with my life. And the number of teams we have participate in is about 60 teams in the open section and 180
just
teams.
Under 200.
180 teams in the under 2,000 section. That adds up to about 240 teams. So in any given week, that is 120 matches. Each match lasts about an hour, um, give or take a little bit. It doesn't have to last an hour. You could be faster, you could be slower. But that would be 120 hours of streaming, um, which is just not going to happen. Plus, there are going to be conflicts. But I would encourage, like, it's not just me who's streaming. I would encourage other streamers out there to stream these matches. If you're a streamer and you're in the tournament, it would be wonderful to see you stream your own matches. And you can also feel free to cover other people's matches. So we are going to have a calendar where people can see matches that are scheduled in advance and plan to be there to watch them, either live on chess.com or to stream them or to find other people streaming them.
If you're a streamer and intend to stream your match during any of your matches during BWC, please make a note of that in the scheduling forum when you post your scheduled match time, and we'll add your stream to the calendar so everyone who checks it can go see your stream when you're playing.
So that's a good thing. Maybe we should turn to the scheduling forum next. I have the scheduling forum up, and you see at the top, Scary Snakes, who's talking with me, has posted a little about the format that you should post in the scheduling forum. There is a link to the scheduling forum in these info things. Boy says group chat was created, but opponent team is not in the chat. Boy, if you could let us know what your group is, we can take a look at that, because we have different arbiters responsible for different groups. So the auditor could remake the group chat. Sometimes it's not possible to invite people to the group chat because they only take invites from friends, or because they're just closed chats in general. And then we add everyone who we can, and we try to contact other people by other methods. Ace Archive says he plans to stream most of the Russian players. That is wonderful. Ace Archive, do you know which players are Russian? Or do we need to try to get you a list of them? Or I'm not sure what the best way to facilitate that.
And I think what Borobori was referring to was actually that his opponents weren't responsive in the chat, so they weren't actually saying anything. What's going to happen is you and your opponents will have until the end of the week to schedule the match. If the match is not scheduled and played by the end of Sunday, the tournament arbiter who is in charge of your group chat will look over all the communications and make a ruling on the match based on which team put in more of an effort to schedule. So if your opponents aren't responsive right now, don't worry about it. A tournament arbiter will resolve it if the match doesn't end up getting played.
So Vladimir says, if you're ahead by 2 with 8.5, is that enough? I guess that's not enough because you need it to add up to at least 16 in the open section. So in the open section, if you have 8.5 to 6.5, then that adds up to 15, right?
So there'll still be another game to
be
played.
There'll still be at least one more game, and they could.
And if it's 8.5, 7.5, then you don't have a margin of 2, so you would continue to play.
Yeah. So it does have to be 9 to 7 to clarify. Rules about arbiters being blocked by participants. I mean, we try to assign a different arbiter when that happens. We try our best to make it work. Anyway, we're looking at the scheduling forum right now, and basically we ask people to post in a format of player A plus player B versus player C plus player D, and then give the time in UTC and the date. If they can also give the time in other time zones, that's helpful, but not necessary. But the UTC is necessary.
I actually forgot to include this, but fortunately, I see most of the players have been adding it to their posts. We'd also like you to include the section in when you're posting your match. I'm updating it now, so
okay, we
might see
a live edit up here. But yeah, So, for example, Return of the Liger says open section, Return of the Liger plus Clock King Switcher versus Straterus plus Beetlebee on Sunday, 11:15, which is like the American way of specifying dates. We have some people using the European way, but usually we can figure it out.
I can only count to 12, so it might be a little difficult otherwise.
Right. And so he includes a UTC time, 5 p.m. UTC, and then he also includes the time zones of the two participant teams, which is very helpful, but not necessary. So he says 12 p.m. Eastern time, which is 6 p.m. CET, which I think is like European time of some sort. And we have a bunch of people who have already scheduled their matches, but you see the number of people who've already posted here. We only see 11 posts, and 2 are from Scary Snakes. So that's 9 teams total that posted out of, I think we said 120 matches. So 9 out of 120 have scheduled so far. And it would be nice to see a lot more scheduled in the near future. But people are still getting their bearings. Once it is scheduled here, the next thing that happens is the arbiters take that information and put it in a calendar. So this is not immediate because it's not automated, but this is the calendar, and this is the calendar link to where the matches are posted, and they're color coded by maroon, I guess, for the under 2000 section, and blue for the open section. We hope to see this page much more full in the near future.
We hope that we can't see the page because there are that many matches on it.
We don't want to see white spaces at all. We want to see all blue and maroon. But in the lower right-hand corner here, you can specify your time zone, your own time zone. So this is converted for me to Eastern time, although the arbiters will input this in UTC. And so if you are a streamer, for example, like me, this is where I go to look. I go and I say, okay, I'm free, say, today at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Oh, there's someone playing then. So I can use this to make my stream title, and then I can follow one or more of these people on chess.com to see the match. So if you do have issues, you can go to your arbiter, which is recommended. But another thing you can potentially do is go on to Discord, and we do have a Discord server.
I'd also like to note, if you have an issue that needs to be resolved with your arbiter, please send them a direct message. So us arbiters have about 15 to 20 different group chats that we try to keep up with as regularly as we can. But if you just send us one of the messages in the group chat, we might not see it immediately. So if you have a problem that you really need help resolving, either message an arbiter directly, or as Chuck is about to say, you can use the Discord.
So there's a questions tab in the Discord, and there is also a scheduling tab, which in theory people can post their matches here instead of or in addition to the forum on chess.com. Either will work, but I think most people are going to prefer the chess.com for scheduling. You need to make sure everyone in your group is aware of it. Sarkov says, don't see in the schedule that you have your match in a half an hour. Let's go look at that again.
So that their matches on this, we must have the incorrect time. So let me update that.
So it looks to us that it is not in a half an hour, that it is in a while. 8 p.m. for me is in 7.5 hours. So maybe that was incorrectly transferred to the time by the arbiter, or the time might have been wrong in the forum. I'm not sure. We can take a look at that.
Is this Sarkov?
Let's see the scheduling.
So I have in the scheduling form that's set to start at 7 p.m. CST. Is that not correct?
So I think CST. So Central Standard Time US might be different from European time. Maybe he meant European time, which might be like CEST, or I'm not sure. This is why it's especially important to post in UTC, because then we're absolutely sure. Yeah, so that typo is why it's wrong in the forum there. So so please, although it's helpful to have these other time zones, please put it in UTC, and UTC is what we're going to go by.
Okay. So I just want to confirm. So the match is sorry, can you let us know what time the match is set to start, and we can just update? You said 30 minutes from now.
Yeah, he said in 30 minutes.
Okay, all right. I'll update the calendar if you want to keep talking. Let's see. Oh, just kidding. I'm not going to update the calendar because that's just the invitation. Okay, we'll get someone to update the calendar.
Yeah, we'll deal with that. But this stream in general, it's most important to figure out the right way to do it for the future, so we don't run into these problems, which is UTC, and we avoid all these problems. I think Sarkov and Zazra the Brain are saying really nice things about us in Russian, is what I assume, but I don't know for sure. When is my match? I am not playing in the tournament. I am an organizer, and I'm going to be streaming as many of the matches as I can. Okay, well, what else do we want to talk about here? Okay, should we talk about...
So there's one other thing I'd like to know, because I forgot to mention this earlier. So we talked a bit about what the procedure is when you have opponents that are non-responsive and not getting back to you. One other thing I suggest you do if your opponents aren't responding in chess.com group chat, try messaging them through another medium if possible. So either send them a direct message on chess.com or send them a chat in Discord if you have access to their Discord handle, because not everyone sees their chess.com chats always. But yeah, like I said earlier, if the match isn't scheduled and played by the end of Sunday, an arbiter will review the case and award a match victory to whichever team made more of an effort to schedule the match.
And this, I believe, is the link for the Discord server for the Bughouse World Championship. If you have Discord, we highly encourage you to join it. It's not required to have Discord, not required to be in that Discord server, but it can be very helpful. Yeah, I don't think Jarl is participating this year. We all would love it if you would, but it is past the deadline for registration. Maybe he'll cover some of the matches. I'm not sure. But yeah, Jarl has sort of taken a step back from Bughouse. So at the bottom of this link about the event are a bunch of links for various things. So I've already given you guys the Discord link. There is an official club for this event, Bughouse World Championship, which I encourage you all to join. There is a bracket. There's a bracket for the under 2000 and a different bracket for the open section. There's the calendar that we looked at. The calendar is what we put matches that are scheduled in, and those are put in manually, so they won't immediately update. But if you post in the scheduling forum, within probably a few hours, arbiters will put it on the calendar here. And again, we encourage you when scheduling, like I think we require you to give us like at least 6 hours notice. And we encourage you to give us even more notice, like 24 hours. The more notice you give us, the more likely a streamer is to notice your match and cover it. So we looked at the scheduling forum. So I guess we could talk about the bracket, or we could talk about setting up matches on chess.com. We could talk about communication on chess.com. Those are all
we
things we
should
can get into.
yeah, we should probably talk a little more about setting up matches and communication on chess.com. Basically anything that the players would need to be able to start their matches.
Okay, so on chess.com, on the left side, I think you guys can see my chess.com here. Yeah. So on the left side is this, let me see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down, is a little talkie bubble with another bubble behind it. And those are your group chats. And your arbiter for your particular group has tried to set up a group chat that includes the arbiter and also all of the players in that group. And the idea is that you guys should be communicating in that group chat to try to set up the match. I'm not sure if I can click on any of these without, like, I don't think I'm like necessarily leaking things, but maybe I should I'm going to create a chat with Scary Snakes here. Okay, so I have a chat with Scary Snakes. I've requested a chat, I guess, with Scary Snakes.
I've got a chat request from Chuck Moulton.
Yeah.
Chuck Moulton, let me accept that.
Yeah, so now we have this chat open. You can type something there. Okay, Scary Snake says, "Hi, this is such an honor." So if I go over here, I think if I left this and came back, then I think it would list it up here. So first it lists ones with messages you haven't read, which is probably where you'll see it. But here's messages I've read, Scary Snake, so I can click that to pull up this chat box.
An important note to the players, you can press the X to close out of the chat box when it is in this little pop-up menu, and you'll still be able to access. If Chuck, could you go back to the list of active chats you have?
Yeah.
If you close out of it there and press X there, you will not be able to rejoin the chat. So make sure you don't close out of it from your...
Don't press X over here. Although, like, after your week is completely over, you can do that.
Then you're... And just to confirm to everyone, at the start of each week, an arbiter will start a new group chat for you with your opponents for that week. So after this week is done, you can close out of this group chat, and then an arbiter will start a new one for you next week.
But Boy has suggested a streamer forum. I think it's probably a good idea to make something on the Discord, a channel on the Discord, and a role on the Discord for streamers. So maybe we could set that up. So if anyone lets us know that they're streamers, we can give them a streamer role on the Discord and access that channel where they can say, "Hey, I want to cover this match."
Oh, Fuzz just made a good point.
Okay, remind people to change the settings to allow chat requests. Okay, where is that setting? I'm not even familiar with that.
If you go to the gear in the bottom left, and then you click on settings.
All settings I want to do?
I'm
gonna leave
and then
all
it
sorts
should be
of things.
under privacy.
Privacy. Okay, privacy. Send and receive messages. Is that what allow chat requests? Allow chat requests from everyone is what we would suggest. Probably if you have friends and club members, that would require everyone being in the Bughouse World Championship and or the Bughouse Club. If they were, then you could probably receive it for them. But we recommend just everyone for this tournament, if at all possible. That would make things like a lot easier.
And they also need to make sure that they can send and receive messages from all members, because when we have different disputes or eligibility problems that we need to message a player directly about, we use chess.com messages, not the chat function.
And
And
I'm gonna put
last,
a link in here also directly to that setting. But yeah, that's a good point. Send and receive from all members. Allow chat requests from all members. For the duration of this tournament, that would make things much easier. The other possibility, if for some reason you didn't want to do this, and I do suggest that you do this, but the other possibility would be to look at the people in your group and look at your arbiter and add all of them as friends. Which I don't know if everyone's going to want to add each other as friends, but that might be a way around that. But again, my
and
suggestion
also
is everyone and all members.
Also make sure that safe mode is not enabled, because safe mode automatically it, like prevents you from sending any chats.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. So safe mode down here, we want to leave that disabled. Are there arbiters assigned for the groups? There are. Yeah, I'm not sure if we publicly posted which arbiter is with which group. But yeah, we each are assigned like a few groups, and we've started chats with our groups. So like these are the groups that I've started chats with. Yeah, right now there's one arbiter assigned per group, which is generally going to be how it is. It may be the case, like theoretically, there might be an arbiter that's like traveling some week, and then another arbiter would take it over. But probably you're going to have the same arbiter for most, if not all, weeks in the group stage here.
uh, yeah, and we might look into publishing the arbiters. I mean, at this stage, by the end of the week, everyone will know who their arbiter is because they will have started a chat with them. Hopefully, all of them have been started already. But if we have a few outstanding ones, we'll make sure that the arbiter gets in touch with you shortly.
Yeah. Do we have any other?
One
If you
thing
have any
that
questions
we
in the
definitely
chat,
still need to do for all of our newer players, we need to show them how to actually set up a match and
okay.
partner your
Yeah,
your
let's
partner
do
in
that.
live. Just
I'm gonna X out of the Scary Snakes chat. We're gonna go into live chess. So there are a bunch of places you can play Bughouse. You can play Bughouse with invariants. You can play it in play. You can play it in live chess, and any of those that works for you is going to be fine. I happen to prefer live chess. And one thing to also note is live chess is going to be going away by the end of the year. Hopefully not before the end of the group stage, but we can't be sure about that. When live chess goes away, you'll still be able to play in play and variants. We're going to go into live chess. I found it has like the least bugs. No pun intended. So when you're in live chess, there's a tab at the top here. We're going to X out of this real quick so we get to the normal tab. So here's the play tab that you see normally. You're going to want to make sure this is set to 3 minutes for your time control. And it's 3 minutes with no increment. So there's like drop down, you can click one, and click 3 minutes. You don't want to have an increment with it. Because 3 minutes is the most popular time control for Bughouse, and it's the easiest to pair in the random pool, and it happens to be the time control that we've chosen to manually have the matches. Next to the right of that 3 minutes, there's a drop down here that allows you to select the variant, and we're going to select Bughouse. Thanks for the follow from It's Me, Char, who is another streamer. He may stream some of these matches as well. Okay. So now I have a Bughouse match here, 3 minutes, and it says myself, Chuck Molden, plus random. It says rated. I forget if we have in the rules that they have to be rated or not.
yes, all matches are required to be played rated.
Okay, all matches are required to be rated. So it says me plus random. I'm going to click where it says random, and now I get to manually choose a partner. So I'm going to type in who my partner is for the tournament. Here I'm going to try Scary Snakes. And now it's going to have me plus Scary Snakes, and I'm going to click the partner button. When I click this, it's going to send a request to him to accept my partnership. This is only going to work.
Request to show him what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm going to click it, but before I click it, I'm just going to let you know. Sometimes when you click this, it doesn't work, and the usual two reasons. There's 3 reasons that this may not work. One may be that Scary Snakes may not be in live chess. Like, he has to also be in live chess so that I can partner him. We have to both be in here. Number 2, he may have blocked me because I just have crushed in previous games and he wants nothing to do with me. So make sure that you're not blocking your partner. And 3, he may be already in a game, which I forget. I think that prevents you from partnering, but it might still let you partner. Or no, he may have already partnered someone else. So if he already has a partner, he has to unpartner before he can partner you. So I'm going to click partner, and in the bottom right, it's going to say you've requested a partnership. He's going to get a little pop up. That's going to say accept decline. If your partner sends you a partnership and you get like a little pop up here, if you don't click it in time, it might go away. And if it does go away, you could have him like undo this, like cancel and then send it again. Or you could do the same thing. If you both offer each other partnerships, then neither of you needs to click the little bubble here because it will just auto partner you. Okay,
and
now
so would you like me to send you a partner request so you can see what it looks like getting that little pop-up in the bottom of the screen?
Yeah. Okay, I can do that. I'm going to cancel partnership. And Scary Snakes is going to offer me a partnership. Okay, now I have a pop-up. Honestly, it's behind my webcam, but I'm going to click accept. So I've accepted a partnership with Scary Snakes. Sarath Carnage says, I would like to block my partner. Yeah. Do not
Honestly,
suggest
I'd
that.
like to block your partner too.
All right. So, ordinarily, if we weren't in this tournament, now that I'm partnered with Scary Snakes, and I know that I don't have to endure the vulgarities of partnering a random partner, ordinarily I would just press the play button and we would go into the random pool together, me and Scary Snakes, and then we would like run the field. The danger of doing this outside the context of the tournament is if you press this play button, you're going to find like 5 or 10 hours later, you're going to realize that 5 or 10 hours have passed and you've been playing Bughouse that whole time. So be very careful before pressing this button here because it cannot be unpressed and you're just going to play many, many games. But for the context of this tournament, there's another button you need to press, which is we have our team here and it says versus random. So if you press this random button here, it's going to let you select your opponent. So I've pressed the random button and it has a list of recent opponents here, but I can also type in the name of an opponent here. And we've let you know who your partner is so that you know who to manually partner. And we've let you know who your opponent is. So I can try matching Canonical here. If you type in his name, and you press the play button, then it will start a match if he accepts. There's a few potential problems.
Demo?
Say that again?
You want to switch it to unrated since this is a demo?
Oh, yeah, I can do that. But first I want to talk about some problems.
Yeah.
So when I press this, in theory, it should send a match to Canonical and his partner. And I don't need to specify who his partner is. So some reasons this might not work. Canonical, he might not be in live chess. And if he's not online, he's not going to get this match. Another problem is he might not be partnered up. He might be in live chess. His partner might be in live chess, but they might not be partnered to each other. So this is only going to send a match if your opponent here is already partnered. So you need to partner your partner. Your opponents need to partner each other, and then when you send this match, it will go to him, and he can select yes or no to that. Okay, so I'm going to press this button and we'll see if it works. I don't know if canonical. Okay, it did work. So now we can play a game.
I'm just paralyzed in fear. I don't think
Yeah,
that I can
it
move.
is understandable to be paralyzed in fear.
My opponent's too good at the game. You're gonna have to win in chess. Partner, I'm dead.
Okay, that's certainly reasonable. You're really not going to give me anything? That's unfortunate.
We could play a game with you. I thought we were just over. I haven't played this game in so long. So I think there were a couple of questions in chat.
The first question was, why did canonical hang a queen? And that's a very good question. I don't honestly know the answer to it. Do we? Nah, we'll just go after this bishop. You demonstrating the queen sack feature. Yeah, that's an important feature on chess.com for sure. Did my partner hang a queen as well?
This is your fault. No, I hung a pawn and it's entirely your fault.
Okay. I apologize for that.
Me. Apologies aren't enough.
Okay. Well.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like if your partner never gave you a piece for the entire game?
I did. I want to know
more.
I wondered that for sure.
Have you ever wondered how your partner could get chess while being up a queen? Because wonder no more.
Okay. Is it okay if I trade some things? Because I would like to.
Absolutely. You can trade everything you've ever wanted.
Okay.
And even the things you didn't want to, you can trade those as well.
Okay. Let's see. I think it may be time to sack. Is it okay if I sack?
You can sack everything.
I can. Okay.
Every single thing.
Good to know. Good to know. We may be down a little bit of time. But, I mean, we don't want to necessarily assign fault for that. That could be anyone's fault. We don't know whose fault it is.
You want a queen trade?
Not my favorite thing. But,
I mean, if you queen trade.
Oh, you don't want a queen trade? I already traded.
Oh no, as in I don't want to trade queens with my opponent because he takes my queen with check.
Yeah, that does sound awkward.
That's not a thing that I like.
That sounds very awkward. Can I get a blocker? Is that a thing? That's probably not a thing.
If we ask
take the knight.
Really
take
nice.
the knight.
Oh, here you go. Here you go, partner.
Thank you.
Just for you.
I appreciate that.
Is it another blocker?
That was awfully nice of him. Oh, that queen is awkward. If we could avoid that, that would be preferred. Maybe retreat that queen back to like d7, something like that.
Wait, I have a plan. Don't you worry.
It's not a good plan. Can you just take that for free? Oh, never mind. No. It might be a good plan. It might be a good plan. Oh, is that a free rook for nothing?
I did it. It's been done by us. Partner, if you could take one pawn, then we can be friends. A rook is not a pawn. Partner, I asked so little of you.
You do. You asked very little of me.
If you could take one pawn. Partner, how dare you?
This is something that you need to keep in mind for the tournament. Sometimes your partner will ask you for one pawn, and instead you will checkmate your opponent, and your partner can get very mad at you, and he might just unpartner you and leave the tournament.
That was my
checkmate. Stealing his thunder.
Everyone in the chat, I want you to know that was my checkmate.
Scary Snakes should 100% get credit for that checkmate.
This is deeply upsetting to me. I'm going to rage quit the tournament. I'm not gonna play anymore. Everyone who was my initial opponent in the tournament, you get a free buy now.
Yeah. Okay, so we have some questions in the chat. Seafloor said, "Is there an answer to my question?" I guess there's a question up here somewhere.
Okay, I'm gonna answer Jack
Oh,
Boss's question.
it's oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he asked about the tie breaks in the open section. Just to clarify, we're taking the top two teams from each group, but then we're also taking 8 additional teams because we ended up with 12 groups. So top two teams would have only been 24 teams total. So we want 8 more teams to get 32 so that there are no first round buys. And he asked about the tie breaks to determine which teams advance on those. We haven't finalized the tiebreakers yet, but in all likelihood, teams are going to be ranked on number of their match win percentage, and the first tiebreak will be the game win percentage, like how many individual games in your total matches you won. And the next tiebreaker will probably be average opponent rating. But we haven't fully fleshed everything out from here. As soon as we have that finalized, we'll make a post in the Discord and also in chess.com forum.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of questions here. Seafloor, I believe his question was. Oh, let me find it again. Okay, Seafloor said one arbiter assigned per group. Yes. Let's see. He had one down here somewhere. It's important which person we type as opponent. Right. No, wrong. It doesn't matter which person on the other team you match against, because chess.com always makes matches high versus high. Meaning no matter which of the two people you match, you will end up playing against, if you are the high board, if your rating is higher than your partners, then you will end up playing the opponent whose rating is higher than his partners. So chess.com takes care of that for you, and there is no easy way to override that. So you can match either of your opponents, and it will set that up correctly for you. Saxeter says it's important to explain muting. So there are communicator buttons. We should probably play a game just to talk about the communicator buttons. Let's start a game, and we're not really going to play it. We're just going to press a bunch of buttons. Okay.
I will admit I was blindsided by playing this game. I haven't played in
Okay.
5 years. But I'm down for pressing buttons. So
Yeah.
that's a thing that I can do.
I'm going to try doing like a rematch here. Okay. So there are some buttons down here at the bottom. So I can say like I need a pawn. I could say, oh, it was aborted. Uh-oh. I'm not sure if that was aborted because we didn't make a move, or why it was aborted.
I think Shrimp is offline, but I can search in the infinity pool.
Yeah, we can search in the random pool, though we are going to probably need to go rated to make that work. Let's go rated infinity pool. Okay, so this is perfect. Just make a random move. Okay, now we can give them some timeouts. I'm going to say no knight. I'm going to click that. I can say trade pieces. Oh, there's also at the right hand side, there's Bughouse sounds. If you unmute this, now press one of those things, partner.
Queen.
Yeah, so you will hear Helm's Knight's voice saying the thing that you click if you unmute it.
Rook.
The thing to keep in mind that's most important here is sometimes you really, really want something, or really, really want something not to happen. Like
queen.
Like if a pawn mates me, I might say no pawn, and just to really emphasize it, I might click it a bunch of times. Be careful, because you could potentially be muted on chess.com if you press that too quickly. That's one thing that's really important to keep in mind.
And just so that everyone knows, communicating in voice chat is 100% allowed for this tournament. So if you're able to get in a voice call with your partner, that's a good way to ensure better communication.
Yeah, not only is it allowed, it is recommended. It will make your life much easier. So like my partner and I are talking on voice now. I'm gonna mute this because usually it's much easier to just talk to each other. But some of you may not have Discord or Skype or something like that available, and in that case, you may decide to just use the buttons at the bottom. But be careful if you get muted on chess.com. So if I press this too much, too fast, like say like a 5 in the space of like 1 second, something like that, chess.com may give a message that say that you're a bad person, you're not allowed to talk for 1 hour, or it may be like more than an hour, and it could get like progressively worse and worse. And if you're not able to communicate at all with these buttons to your partner, it may get to be a bad time for you.
Partner, how would you feel about me sitting until the end of time for a queen? Or like,
what if it's a rook instead of a queen?
Okay. Hear me out. What if it was a queen though?
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to trick him. He's going to.
Yeah. That seems like a reason. See, now like the rook thing might work.
Yeah, there's no way that he defends the A2 square. If
no,
he does,
he doesn't. We did.
Is impressive.
No, you can put the rook in there anyway. Okay. Yeah. So do I need to?
Partner, I need help. I'm not sure what to do.
Okay. So you can suggest moves to your partner. It's okay to do that. So partner, I realize you need help. Might I suggest your knight, which is currently on b4, could capture that pawn on a2, which would check your opponent. And a general rule of chess and Bughouse is always check, because it might be mate.
All right, I'm gonna check. Oh my gosh! Oh wow!
It was mate. So
yeah. Thank you, partner, for feeding me mate.
Oh, so PKR has pointed out that's defended by a bishop. I hadn't noticed that was defended by the bishop, but luckily this is what we call a pin, so the bishop can't take. So it's totally okay to suggest moves to your partner. And again, it is encouraged. This is a team game.
Just a heads up, I believe the Charkvas and Vector World match is scheduled to start soon.
Okay, well, we could potentially commentate on that, but we do want to get through a few more of these tutorials. Sure. Like we've talked about how to set up a game. We've talked a little about the Bughouse communicator buttons. But I think there's still some stuff we need to talk about. So the parents in the bracket, I think, is an important thing to look at.
Yeah.
So there's two brackets. There's one bracket for the open section, and there's another for the under 2000 section. And I'm going to put both of those in the chat. So we can take a look at the open section bracket. Let me make sure.
Am I still here?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. My laptop's frozen. I can't actually open any new tabs, but I guess I'm still connected.
Well, I am looking at the open section, the bracket, and I think other people can see it too. So you are going to be in a particular group and with your partner, and you're going to be in the same group throughout the group stage. So if you're not sure where you are, open this link in your browser, and you're going to do Control F. And now we're going to try, I guess I'm sort of in the way, so you can't see what I'm typing. Let me move me actually. Okay. I'm gonna go over here for a second. Okay. So once you do Control F, you can type here, and it will search for you. So let's find someone to search for. Okay, let's actually search for Helm's Knight. So we're gonna search for Helm's Knight, and it's gonna highlight her. And you could press down or up to get to that, but she is the only Helm's Knight here. And we see Helm's Knight happens to be in Group E, and she is partnered to Chicken Cross Road. So now you found yourself, you found your group. Helm's Knight is in Group E. Now that she knows she is in Group E, this is gonna contain your match results, which will be updated when you report them, and then an arbiter will go in and manually put the results in. But for our purposes, what we really want to find out is, if I'm Helm's Knight, who am I playing with next? So at the top of Group E, there's a stand-ins tab here and a matches tab here. We're going to click the matches tab. And this has week numbers at the top. For the purpose of this, week 1 is actually all the way to the right, just because of a quirk of the way this software was set up. And we wanted to make sure, we wanted to make sure that the competitive matches were like the last week, basically. So we kind of cared who played who in what week. But you're going to go and look at your match for week 1. And for week 1, we see Chicken Cross Road and Helm's Knight are playing against GM Chessboy 666 and Puzzle. I guess that's a little bit obscured.
But, if you click on the standings tab, it will show you the full name.
Yeah, if you click on this, so GM Chessboy 666 and Puzzle Tactician is who they're playing in week 1.
And a tournament arbiter should have started a chat with all 4 of those players already. If for some reason you haven't received a chess.com chat from your tournament arbiter yet, let one of us know here, or let someone know in the Discord, and we'll make sure we sort that out.
Yeah, so you should have received a group chat with all of you in it. You don't necessarily have to wait for us. The 4 of you can come up with a time together, and you're allowed to play games earlier than the week they're assigned if you want, but you can't play them later than the week they're assigned. So if you're traveling on vacation in week 3, then maybe you want to try to play your week 3 match in week 2, if possible. So that can be something you can try to arrange. So Helm's Knight and Chicken Cross Road would contact GM Chessboy and Puzzle Tactician and say, hey, we have a match. When is a good time for you all? And Helm's Knight might say, I am free nights in the Eastern time zone, which happens to correspond to this in UTC. And I am free Saturday all day, but I'm not free Sunday. And then GM Chessboy might say, well, Wednesday doesn't work for me, Friday doesn't work for me, but Thursday works for me. And Puzzle Tactician might say, okay, Thursday works for me, but we need to play start at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once you found a time you all agree on, you would go to the scheduling forum and you would post that time, and be sure to post that in UTC. And then once that's scheduled to be put on the calendar, and you all would show up at the same time on chess.com and start your match. I'm very good at one-dimensional hypothetical conversations with myself. I mean, so knowing your group, like you know, this is round robin, so you're going to play against all these teams because there's 6 teams in the group. There's probably going to be 5 weeks. If you have less than 6 teams in your group, if you only have 5 teams, you may get a bye one of these weeks. So we've already looked at week 1. Week 2 is going to be over here. Oh, I guess they're in week 2. Then week 3 is over here. Week 4. Just go in week number, basically. So do we have any questions about scheduling matches in general and figuring out who you're... Oh, the other thing I should have said is, once you figure out who your partner is your new best friend. So make sure to friend your partner on chess.com. I strongly suggest finding a voice medium you can talk. if possible. So becoming friends on Discord. If you really take this tournament seriously, then you probably don't want to just play the matches, but you may want to join your partner and play together in the random pool or against some other friends to practice, get to know each other's styles. The Stardust Condor says, don't believe the best friend part. You might not always end up being best friends by the end of the tournament, but that's your goal and aspiration, is to have a new best friend.
I'd also like to suggest a really good way to improve at Bughouse is just getting in a call with your partner and analyzing strong matches, of which you can find many in replays on this particular channel. So you can go and watch some Chuck games and analyze what he's doing, like take part and learn some good strategies that you can maybe implement in your own matches.
Yeah, and you want to get a feel for your partner. So if you play a few matches with your partner, you might take a look at what your partner's doing, and you might see some open and weaknesses from them and suggest some different openings they could play. Or you might see that their opening, whether solid or not, their opening would be improved if certain piece flow comes in most games. So you can try to get that piece flow to make your partner play better. So there's a similar form here for the under 2000 section.
Also, I'd like to note something real quick. So there were a number of players who signed up for this tournament as individuals, in which case we assign you a partner who is relatively close to an even rating. Unfortunately, there's some instances with players who signed up for this tournament and committed to play that then did not honor that commitment afterwards. If you are unable to get into contact with your partner, if you have not been able to communicate with them whatsoever, please contact the tournament director immediately and we'll look into helping resolve the case.
So there are a lot more groups in the under 2000 section. We ran out of letters because there's more than 26 groups. Then we go to AA, AB, AC. But within the under 2000 section, you're going to do the same sort of thing. You're going to do Control F, and you're going to type your name. Let's look at hashtag Chess Twitch and Anamaya. They are in group M. And once they figure out what group they are in, again, they can click the Matches tab. We can scroll over here to week 1, and we can see that they're going to play against Nate MCD90 and Bam Bam 42. So this is their week 1 match. Yeah, there are 32 groups in the under 2000 section, which works out well because the top 2 from each group is going to progress to the single elimination, which means there's going to be 64, which is perfect for these bracketing. So yeah, does anyone have any questions about that process in general? Or should we move on to something different? Okay, don't see any questions. Is there anything we haven't... Oh, we haven't covered the results form, so maybe we should talk about that.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Okay, so...
pull that up, I can talk about it.
Yeah. I'm
so
trying to pull it up here.
After you schedule and play your match with your opponents, one, it's important at least 6 hours in advance. As we talked earlier, you need to report it to the scheduling forum. And after your match is complete, it is important that one person from each team fill out a results form that lets us know who played the match, which section you were in, and who won the match, and what the result of the match was. Also note, you're going to need to include the game link to the last game played in the match. It should be easy to find by searching in your game history. And that's just in case we need to go back and verify any of the match results in case there's a dispute of some sort.
So let's look at that real quick. If you want to find your game history, you can go to your profile, and then you're going to there's a games tab, and you're gonna find one of these games here. So let's look at this game here. This is obviously a big mess. So chess.com, please make this actually useful. But for now, all we need is this link here. So I'm gonna copy it. And now I'm gonna go back to
And
the
link
thing.
is cut off for the stream, but it's basically
Right.
it's the URL at the top of the page.
Yeah, it's the URL at the top of the page. So I've copied that. Now it's in my clipboard. I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna make sure that that's actually the link in my clip. Okay, yeah. And I'm gonna paste it. And it's this URL at the top. So now that I've pasted that, I can fill the other stuff out.
If your match it asks you to report the final match score. If your match went into overtime, so let's say it was tied after 9 games, so you continued playing until it was 14-12. Report the final match score, including the overtime game. So whatever the total result was for all of the games you guys played in the match, that is the result you're reporting to us.
This is the match score, which should be 14-12 in that case. And I'm gonna say I'm in the open section. I'm gonna say what team am I? Player A plus player B. So
you could just put a
plus Scary Snakes.
And you could just put us as the opponents also.
And we played. I don't even remember how to type his whole handle. Let's say canonical.
Oh, yeah, I also don't. That's what I was
plus
just put us as
Archduke Shrimp. Okay, which team was
and I do want to clarify
of the match?
Please, only one of you fill out this form. We're going to be processing all of these forms for all of the different matches. So please don't give us duplicates. We want one player from each team so that we can just confirm someone from both sides to make sure we have the match score.
So this is one of these areas where I'm not going to be one of the people doing the work. So I have no problems if you guys are to give them more work. But Scary Snakes would prefer that only one of you submit the form.
Oh, man.
So here we have.
I'm to look both ways for across the street, but you just threw that bus right on top of me.
So here we have all of the info that is needed. Once you make sure all that's right, you can press the submit button. And I'm not going to press this button right now because that would bring more work to Scary Snakes. Make sure you have your right section. Just make sure all this information is correct. And to be perfectly honest with what Scary Snakes had, like he said it's important to not have more than one person submit the results. It's even more critically important that at least one person submit the results.
That's a good point. Yes.
So, as bad as it would be to have like 2 people, like 2 people is better than 0 people. Our strong preference is for one person to submit it, but if the choice is between 2 and 0, we would prefer 2.
That is true. That's very true. It will be even more work for us if 0 people from your team submit the result form.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have any more questions about the tournament in general?
Another thing we could do, we could answer any questions we have now, and we could also note while we're commentating the Shark Boss match that we'll have a brief Q&A afterwards. If we're in the house party Discord, we could even invite people in the call if they had questions.
Okay, so has it already started, or is it starting soon?
This is unclear to me. I thought it was supposed to be 30 minutes from when we talked about earlier, which would have been 15 minutes ago, but I don't see them playing. So
okay, we can go into a live chat.
Sarkov, if you're still in chat, can you give us a confirmation when? Oh, they're playing now.
They are playing now. Okay, where are they?
Okay.
Okay. I see Azarkov. Okay, I am going to switch layouts to a nicer layout. so that we can really see what's going on. And we can commentate a little bit on this match.
So,
our score in the beginning of this is 6-1 already, favoring Azarkov and Vectorveld.
Ooh, Vectorveld has a nice initiative here.
This is gonna be. So
I think
another bishop would be good. He's just gonna take the pawn to thread in. Okay, a bishop is still good. He also could potentially get this queen in. Oh, he has the bishop. Okay, yeah, that's game over.
Please use the pawn. Thank you. Very important.
Do not put a queen here when you can use a pawn, because that is what we call style points.
When at all possible to checkmate while using a pawn, it is critically important that you do. It's actually just incorrect to use a piece other than a pawn when you're capable of using a pawn. If you're me, you can go so far as to refusing to checkmate your opponent until your partner gets you a pawn to use to checkmate them.
And what I like to do there is, sometimes your partner, this is where partner communication is important. So your partner might not realize that that you're waiting for a pawn. There's a point to say, "Hey partner, I want a pawn," and it mates. And your partner might say that you have a bishop, you have a queen in your hand. Why don't you use one of them to checkmate? And then you could say to your partner, "If you don't get me a pawn, I'm going to resign." And then your partner is going to hate you, of course, justifiably so. But on the other hand, you don't want to lose the match, so you have to take that pawn for your partner.
This game looks pretty interesting. So Passon has a very chessy position on his board. Dr. Lev and Sarkov haven't traded a lot of pieces this game, and I think this is the type of position that they want to win the match. Passon seems like a very strong chess player.
Vectorveld is very strong at chess too. So
this is true, but Vectorveld and Sarkov have the advantage in terms of Bughouse experience. So I think the way that the Russian team wins games here is by getting a chessy position. Because if it's a position with a ton of trades and a ton of flow, I think the Bughouse experience is really just going to show.
Pawn at d2 is going to be a threat.
Yeah, this is looking very strong for the Russian team. Bold choice by Sarkov
I don't think everything. That's the right choice. I think pawn check is just.
I think Dr. Live
Dr. Live, I think, missed his chance. I think he should have pawn checked and then knight checked.
Oh, the classic, the bishop moving backwards. Oh, that's feels bad.
Bishops do move backwards. That's another pro tip. Dr. there.
Live, I feel you. That's a tip that I'm still learning myself.
So Return the Liger. In general, I would love to have as many co-commentators as possible. Right now, as I leaked earlier in the stream, we are in a Discord call for arbiters in the Bughouse World Championship Discord server. So I think I'm just going to go with snakes
from Vectorveld there. Yeah, he had bishop before, and the idea was trying to distract Passon's queen because it was tied down to defending the f2 square. This game is looking crazy now. On position, I still think Dr. Live and Passon have a major material advantage, but this is going to come down to a time scramble here. I think in this type of position, you just try to play safe and fast. This game shouldn't end on checkmate, so you just want to get up time here. Oh, it's still so close. Oh, okay, we've gone full dirty flag mode from Dr. Live. This is what I'm here for. This is my expertise. Just sacking all of your pieces for checks. Yes. No, keep going. Yes, more sacks. Rook G1. Oh, beautiful. All right. The Dr. Live there with the classic Scary Snakes flagging technique. Throw all move quality out the window and just sacrifice every piece you have and hope that your partner doesn't get checkmated.
That is the way to do it. And our score right now is 7-2, favoring Azarkov. A lot of these early matches are going to be like the top seed versus the lowest seed in a particular group. So some of these early matches may potentially be blowouts, but it's. You see the huge differential in rating here. You see a 2400 playing an 1800 and a 2100 playing a 1700. So the fact that that Fasan and Dr. Live can get a few wins here is just very impressive.
Well,
So
yeah, I missed the start of
they're
the
definitely
match, but
outperforming their Raiden by like a wide margin. So even though they're almost certainly going to lose this match, I think we're confident they're going to gain some Raiden points here.
oh, queen takes a7. That's a free pawn and a really tricky one for Vectorville to deal with here. Like Rook, if you have to play Rook F8, that's a pretty sad move. Why haven't we taken this free pawn? Please.
The free pawn on H7, is that the one we're talking about?
Oh, yeah. That upsets me.
What do you mean the one on C6? I think the H7 was the better one to
Oh,
take.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I meant the one on H7. After queen takes C6, we just block with our bishop, and our queen's protecting our rook now.
Oh, Vectorveld is so greedy taking that pawn. I love the greed.
Yeah, I think Passan's showing a little bit too much respect here to Vectorville. Like there have been two times already in this game where he could have taken some free material, but chose to play a defensive move instead.
Oh, bishops move backwards. That's another insight that we often have. But maybe we need
bishops to move backwards.
We need like a bishops move backwards emote of some sort.
We need to not allow that. And do you know how many games I've lost because pieces move backwards and I just hang a piece that I wouldn't have ever otherwise hung? That like we just need to update that. We need to change that rule in chess. That's the only thing stopping me from being a grandmaster right now. Pieces can only move forward. I'd be a world champion. I'm saying it right now. Don't at me.
You can absolutely add him for that. We see good development from Vectorveld, whereas Passan, he still hasn't developed this king's bishop, and his position is kind of cramped.
Yeah.
So one thing that led to that is a lot of times players will trade pieces, but they do it on terms that benefit their opponents. So if you're trading pieces in general, you want to do it on terms that benefit you, unless your partner is asking you for something.
Ooh.
So if you have like a pin, for example, it's usually better to leave the tension. If you can trade pieces, it's better to trade them near your side of the board than near your opponent's side of the board. When you trade it near your opponent's side of the board, it helps them develop their pieces. When you do it near your side of the board, often it helps you develop your pieces.
Wow, that's surprising that Sarkov took on F1 there. I think knight at H3 had to have been mating. Is incredibly strong. But nonetheless, just the material advantage here is looking pretty tough for the Russian team here. I think this is going to...
They're both Russian teams, just to clarify. I'm sorry. I guess Vectorveld is from Belgium. So yeah, I guess.
Also, shout outs to Vectorveld and Sarkov, one of a couple of repeating teams from last year. This team played in the open section last year, and I believe won their first match and advanced to the next round. So, and that is going to do it for the match. Strong performance from Vectorveld and Sarkov, very well played. And also, shout outs to this Russian team that winning 2 games off of an experienced Bughouse team that also played in the World Championship last year.
Very impressive.
Very, very nice showing.
So that this final score was 9-2 here.
I don't know if you are still planning on doing a post-game interviews this year. We might want to skip that if we want to get straight to Q&A, but I'm down for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there'll be more post-game interviews when we get to the elimination phase. But in this, so position, are you saying that there's a match coming up like immediately here? Are they playing another game? I think their match is already over, but I guess they're playing some more for fun.
It's possible that since we got here late, it's possible
there might have been an abort.
Those games were
yeah.
I will check their match history just to see, but either way, we're getting into more
I guess
Bughouse.
That's one thing we should mention. If there is an aborted game, meaning like you resign on like move 1, before someone makes a move, then sometimes that is shown by chess.com in the match score, but for our purposes, like that doesn't count in the match score.
All right. Well, I'm rooting for Dr. Live and Passon just because I want to see more games. I want every game to go, every match to go to overtime if possible.
Yeah.
Um,
So we're this, the fact that this is happening means one of two things. It means there was like an aborted game earlier in the match before we got here, or it could mean that these guys
so
are degenerates who are addicted to Bughouse. And uh, it's hard to know which is the case. It may be both. That's another possibility.
So I just checked, and there are no aborted games. So I think they're
Yeah,
just playing for fun,
I
or
think
they
they're just
might
playing for
not
fun.
be aware of the match requirements, and they might think that these games are counting.
Yeah, well, maybe it's possible a Zarkov. I don't know if he read the rules closely. Maybe he thinks that you have to win by 8 points rather than winning by 2 points.
Yeah, all 11 games of the match were
1800
completed, so
strength
we're
is
just
saying
getting some points covered.
there's a match that starts in 30 minutes. I guess
Oh,
we can check the calendar
wait,
here.
hold on. Let me. I think I'm hearing 1800 Strength now. He just said that he'd like to hop on and commentate that match. What's that? Also, you think Snakes is the coolest person in the world? You didn't have to say that about me. Thank you. Um, for those of you in chat who are trying to get me to play this game that I don't play anymore, that's I'm not about that life. Uh, oh, did I? Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay. My computer has again decided to freeze, so I'm not watching anything. But
Luckily, his computer did not decide to freeze in the middle of that super important unrated exhibition game that we played, which I'm gonna clip, and I'm going to send to all of Archduke Shrimp's friends and relatives, so they can see for the future. Oh, there's some complaints about 1800 strength's name. They're saying he should be 2600 strength. Return the Liger wants to commentate, and I would love to have you commentate later. But right now this is a Scary Snakes only commentary stream. Do we have anyone else in the scheduling forum that maybe hasn't made it to the calendar yet? Let's check that out. There's a bunch of Wednesday ones. Oh, did Scary Snakes leave? He did. I think he's having computer problems, so hopefully he will be back. So do we have any other questions about the Bughouse World Championship in general? Here to add +1 to the statistics. Well, thank you for that. So Vectorveld probably wants to get this king to a safer place. He is. Dr. Live as a bishop battery, but this trade would not be good because it would actually help Zarkov to develop. This king is very boxed in, so eventually we might see like a knight there to try to like exploit this. If Vector runs out of checks, I think Basan should really start checking while he has the opportunity. I would definitely take this pawn.
am I alive?
You are alive. We could see a knight check because if he takes this, then that queen can take. Yeah, I would just eat the queen, and if there's checks, He could always walk his king. He could
Okay, I
potentially
just
take
got
it.
here. What's Vectorveld doing with his life? How did we get here?
Vectorveld decided not to check, which is
So I'm
not
confused. Is
recommended.
this
Always check because it might
so
be
like
mate.
pawn mates here? Yeah, there might be a. Is Queen A5 mating?
Ooh, don't like that. I would have
Oh,
taken the queen. I think Fasan has made some poor life choices here. He's basically gone all in with his attack. I mean, I guess there's a
he's
pawn
up on
mate.
time. Oh yeah, pawn mates. He
He's
needs
up
up time.
he's
Yeah,
up
this is
time.
good. Yeah.
Oh, knight also
Take
mates.
that, take that,
Knight
take that.
there. Okay, I guess
Oh,
it
very
worked out.
nice, very nice. Wow, these people are the addicts.
They are
I'm down
addicts.
for it.
Maybe they
Okay.
believe that they need to play to 16 wins, even though they were all in the stream where we discussed the rules.
Hey, I'm not complaining if they're gonna give me more Bughouse games.
It does
That's
seem
a
to be
free
more
night.
Bughouse.
Do you have any idea what time is it for these players, like in Russia right now?
That is a question for our fact checker, color commentator, not for me.
Let me check that real quick. I'd also like to point out to everyone in chat, literally every single time I've ever hung a piece, it was in fact because I was sleep deprived or because it was late at night. There's never been a time where I've hung a piece and it was in fact my
So
fault.
I'm sleep deprived myself because uh, anyone who checks my Twitch VODs will see that last night there were some strong players playing. So I was like, okay, I think I will jump on and stream this for like 30 minutes or so. And one thing led to another. I'm not. I'm. I'm not proud of myself, but but like 7 hours later.
Babe, I'm sorry. We had some drinks. They were playing some games. One thing led to another. It didn't mean anything. I promise.
so yeah, I actually ended up streaming like 6 or 7 hours. Maybe it was more actually. I don't know. We could fact check that for sure. Let's pull this up. Okay, I streamed for 7 hours. And I have an emote for that. Which is my one more game emote. Let me find it.
No. Not the one more game.
And honestly, that stream probably not going to be available in the archives very long. I kind of need to unpublish it. So what happened was Cracktix, who's a friend of mine from Free Internet Chess Server many years ago, he jumped into the chat and we sort of talked for a while, but I think he was getting progressively intoxicated. So it did. He may have said some things that I would not have said on a family friendly stream. But yeah, so I partnered him and I partnered Pyro, and we played a lot of games. The times are quite close on the diagonal clocks.
Your color commentaries are also checked. It is just before 10 p.m. in Russia.
So I think
this is another very chessy position.
Fasan probably wants a pawn for g7. Fasan has a fairly safe king. A pawn would win some initiative, probably.
Okay, and this is a good decision by Sarkov not to sit this down. So they're the better team here. They don't want to enter a time scramble where their Bughouse strength doesn't necessarily show as much. So if they had waited the entire game to prevent them from getting that pawn, we would enter a time show. But
very nice job by Fasan. Fasan has picked up a free queen.
Oh, I don't like taking that knight from Vectorveld. So when there's a knight right next to your king, it actually gets in the way of a lot of your opponent's attacking pieces. Yeah, this is looking like a win for the Russian team again.
This is pretty crushing. Yeah, he could just take the free rook if he wanted to.
Yeah, taking the free rook also has tons of threats. This is
This
also
is
good.
reasonable too.
Oh,
Now
Quintix
another
G2.
knight would be good.
Yes. Dr. Life finds Quintix G2. Very nice sacrifice here. He's going to have mate here. Bishop G2 and Rook H, whatever that square is. Well, not anymore. I lied.
Whatever.
There's got to still be checkmate here.
Ooh,
And then knight F to H4. Oh, the knight's covering now. Oh.
No, he's hanging stuff. All right.
Well,
what?
The checkmate is 0 seconds on.
Yeah, I think they're going for flag right now.
I think there's some lag going
and
on.
The flag.
Here. Oh, beautiful checkmate here. Perfect technique.
Flag has worked.
Yeah, there never seen a cleaner win in my entire life.
A few mismates there.
Nope, not a single one. They
found Zarkov is saying GG's now, so our score is like 12-4. I honestly that adds up to 16 games. So I wonder if they thought they were playing to 16 games, which is not the case.
Yeah, so the actual match score will be 9-2.
Yeah, so we do want to clarify, you don't have to play to 16 games unless you're not like winning by 2 earlier than that. They could have stopped at a 9-2 score. Okay, they said just to play. Which is fine. Like, you guys can play for fun, but when reporting the score, report it as 9-2. Yeah, and scarysnakes is saying that in the chat here.
That was one of the most exciting lopsided matches we've seen. So the match score was 9-2, but most of those games were like very exciting and
they were really close.
Yeah,
and that may be explained by a few things. I mean, first of all, I think Dr. Live and Pasan and Kirov are certainly underrated and gel very well together. Second of all, it may be that Zarkov and Vector Veld have not practiced together recently. They may be still getting a feel for each other's styles. And well, there may be like a time zone thing. I don't know. It's hard to say, but yeah. I mean, props to Dr. Live.
I'm just curious what matches we'll get to see this Russian team, because I think this team is going to improve a lot over the course of the tournament.
So one thing we often see, especially in the under 2000 section, is that players will start off as like 1700, and by like the end of the tournament, they may even be above 2000.
Oh. And they are in the same bracket as what a lot of people's tournament favorites are, 12 team and Blitzsplit. That group is going to be very exciting. I think the 12 team Blitzsplit
we never really discussed the brackets very much to talk about.
Let's go for it.
Talk about who the favorites are. We can pull up some brackets for the open section.
One question I have for you once you have it up, because the groups are designed as such that you have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seed, etc. For the most part, we've got some crazy strong 1 seeds. So in a lot of these matches, it would be utterly shocking to me if anyone but the 1 seed advanced with the best score in the round.
Especially in the open section. Yeah.
Yeah, my question in the open section is, which group do you think here has the most potential for an upset for a team that isn't the number 1 seed advancing to the second round? I'm sorry, not just advancing, because we do take 2 teams total, but
you're saying like the number 1 team not advancing, basically.
Since the top 2 teams advance, the number 1 team will still advance unless they're third in the group. What I'm asking is, which group is most likely to have an upset of the number 1 team, where the number 1 team finishes second or third in the group and doesn't finish first in the group? So basically, I'm asking which number 2 or lower seed is most likely to win their group.
That's a good question, and I think these are in order of seeding, right? So like number 2 is like the second highest rated.
Yeah,
Right.
the seeding paradigm is we assign each of the top 12 teams their own group, and then we sort of seed in backwards. So 12 will be
In
seeded with the
Group
13th
L,
team overall.
Group L, we have Ego Smasher plus Ecarf. I
And
think
those are the
there's
two closest seeds overall. Like they are
yeah. I think
Deep Sound and Crazy are
I
12,
would
and
I
Ego
would put
Smash
my
and Eclipse
money
are
on
13.
Ego Smasher and Ecarf in that matchup. I think
It's
Ecarf is probably pretty rusty, but they've both been playing a long time.
I do think so as well. I one thing I'll say for Deep Sound, like Spurs, when he's in form, he's still a very strong attacker, and he has a ton of experience playing in actual like bughouse matches, which is also true of Ecarf. They're very similar players. I think in terms of current playing strength right now, I think Ego Smasher is probably strongest player out of all of these if they were to play right now. But in terms of pedigree, Ecarf, if he's anywhere near like classic Ecarf form, is one of the greatest attackers we've ever seen in this game. And Diblasau
Yeah,
is just behind him. Uh,
Ecarf is known for being relatively slow as far as how fast the player plays, like the moves on the clock, but plays like super strong moves. And he's just capable of finding like a lot more checkmates and a lot stronger attacks than players even much higher rated than him. He's definitely someone to look out for. So I think Ego Smasher and Ecarf will probably be top seed in their group. Um, Looking up above here, Charkvoss and Diley, relative to Bughouse Knight and Chess Brainiac. Even though Bughouse Knight
yeah,
and Chess Brainiac are definitely higher rated, I think they're probably a little bit rustier and have not played together as much as Charkvoss and Diley have played together. So
yeah.
we could see an upset there, not based so much on strength, but based on comfortableness with partner style.
I was actually talking to Cabbage, the 1800 strength, about this last night, and at first glance, I was thinking Charkvoss and Dale as a two seed. That's a crazy strong team, who would have a really good chance of upsetting like a lot of these number one seeds. When I thought about it a bit more, though, I think in terms of like talent, like they could definitely take on a team of like Chess Brainiac and Bughouse Knight. But I think this particular matchup is like fairly favorable for Chess Brainiac because Charkvoss and Dale are both solid, balanced all-around players. They aren't known for their aggressive all-out attacks, and I think Chess Brainiac is going to be most comfortable in a game where he's not getting all-out attacked, where he can really let his speed shine and put pressure on the opposing team.
Yeah,
Um,
this is Chess Brainiac and Bughouse Knight are both known for being very fast players. So I would imagine like by the end of the game they may be up like 30 seconds on all of these
Yeah,
teams.
and
Uh,
also it helps to have Bughouse Knight, who is just the strongest player in that group. He is so good at Bughouse. Like he is like the epitome of speed plus move quality. He's so good. Okay, I guess the true epitome of speed plus move quality would be like Katasker 1210. But
yeah.
in the human category, I'd take that combination Bughouse Knight just about over any other players outside
So
of that like top.
looking in Group J, Christopher Yu and Raise for Info. Like I think Chewy and Marvel both have a ton of Bughouse experience and are both very good. Raise for Info is, I would say, about as good as they are and has a lot of Bughouse experience, but is probably somewhat rusty. I believe he was Win for Rook on or Win Your Rook on the Free Internet Chess server. He's from Australia. Um, Christopher Yu is a bit of a wild card in that, like, don't get me wrong, he's played a bunch of Bughouse, but he's played a lot more chess than Bughouse. And players who are sort of chess specialists, they have the potential to get really good at Bughouse really quickly. We could potentially see a lot of improvement from Christopher Yu um, during the period
With
of this tournament.
PSA. PSA to everyone in chat. Shout out to all my non-chess players, all my non-title players out there holding it down. Chess is so bad for your Bughouse. It's just detrimental. So anytime you're spending studying chess, playing chess, you could be playing the greatest game of all time, Bughouse.
Oh, I didn't. So I didn't really look at the listing of who's playing. So it's just interesting to see who's here as I'm looking at. And Outrun You is in the tournament and has partnered his son. Outrun You plus Outrun Son. So that'll be an interesting team to watch. And below them we have Mikey San 206, who started streaming Bughouse maybe like 4 or 5 months ago and streams like almost every night. He streams Bughouse, so it's good to see some streamers in the mix here.
I'm pretty sure the team in Mikey-san and Chan Master, like these are both like 2,000 plus players, and they're the 5 seed in their group. This open bracket is so stacked. There's so many good teams.
Well, I mean, when you say they're 2,000 plus players, like we would expect if they were below 2,000, then they would be in the under 2,000 section.
Fair enough. That is a good point. But the fact that we're able to have 5 teams deep of 2,000 plus players is kind of insane to me. Because like to your average Bughouse player, like a 2,000 player is like incredibly strong, and like getting to 2,000 strength. I remember the grind when I was 1,600 playing hours upon hours, game after game, to try and hit that threshold of 2,000. And we just have like these players in droves in this tournament. It's so exciting.
Yeah. So looking at the next group above, we have Midnight Fox and PKNM versus Catalyst and Physician. And Physician, what did Scary Snakes to say some stuff about him?
Oh, I think we can confidently say that Physician is in fact the worst player in the entire tournament. And that's not just the open section. I'm also including the U2000 section.
The problem though is, I mean, Catalyst might be a good enough player to carry Physician through the whole tournament here. Have you taken that into account?
Yes, I'm convinced that Jesus Christ himself could not carry Fuzz to a single win in this tournament. He's in fact that bad. I'm sorry, someone had to say it.
When I play in the random pool, I often have the problem where, like, I will just win all the pieces on my board, and my partner will seemingly blunder a piece every move, and I will tell them what move to make, and they will move like a completely different move. Maybe because they're not reading the chat, maybe they don't understand the English language, or maybe, I think more likely, all of these accounts were created just to troll me, and are trying to put me on maximum tilt. So I guess the question is, if Catalyst were to feed like every single move to Physician, do you think Physician would be able to make the moves that Catalyst feeds him?
I mean, if he's learned how to read recently, I mean, I haven't spoken to him in a while, but like I think about a week ago, he said not quite learned how to read. But if he's learned now, then he probably could. Okay.
In all seriousness though, the Physician has played a lot of simul games, which can really help you improve your Bughouse. And there's not really a way to legally do that on chess.com. But if you ever have a chance to simul over the board, I would highly recommend it because it helps improve your board vision. So in this section, we have Shawnee plus UK the Goat. And UK the Goat, I think it was really last tournament that he got into Bughouse and got into Bughouse scene, and we saw a lot of him in the last tournament.
Bughouse World Champion right there. UK the Goat and
Florence Girl were the champions from last year. And in that same section is, I believe, their rivals, Nigerian Demon and Kirka Chesja. So this was the number. This is the number 2 in the under 2000 section from last year's tournament.
Coincidence. decision to substitute Sean Y for that particular game
For
and get
Florence
Florence
Girl.
Girl to come out
Yeah.
and retire. Real quick before I talk about that matchup, I do want to talk seriously about the Fuzz and Catalyst team. He's a friend of mine, so I of course had to make fun of him. But that team is like pretty interesting. I'm not super familiar with the way Catalyst plays, but Fuzz is very materialistic, like very good at winning material and also like very safe. He skews more towards playing solidly and winning material than towards attacking his opponent, but he is capable of ripping out some mean attacks when need be. But yeah, I'm very curious to see the 2-3 matchup in this group. Catalyst and Fuzz against Sean Y and UK the GOAT. That
And
could end up determining who advances to
I do
the
have
next
to say
round.
something about our number 4 seed, which is New Bear 1198 and Jubla. So Jubla has a long history in Bughouse. On the free internet chess server, his handle was Bug. And he had one of the things that people sort of paid attention to in the free internet chess server was how many games you had, and no one really cared if you had 50,000 or 80,000 games or something like that. But there were a few people at the top, and it kind of changed over the years who had the most number of games. But there was a period when Bug had the most games, and he may still have the most games. That like well over 100,000 games. So that's just a ton of games. And he was known, this is a technical term of art in Bughouse for those of you not familiar, but he was known as a dirty sack sitter. So whenever possible, he would just like throw away knights and bishops and pawns just to get one more check on his opponent. And then he would turn to his partner and he would say, feed me, give me pieces is good. And if for some reason, after sacking 3 knights, 2 bishops, and 8 pawns, his partner didn't give him the 3 more pawns that he wanted, Jubla would go into channel 24 and he would absolutely roast his partner for being a complete noob that was a terrible partner. Jubla was also known on chess.com as Angelina Callie. Which he posed as like this like supermodel from England. Probably got a lot of DMs about that. And his current account is Juvla. He's also big on the 4-player chess stream, 4-player chess scene, and is known for roasting his opposite whenever they don't do exactly what they want.
No one is safe from this Jubla smoke.
When we were like, Jubla did not enter this with a partner. Probably because no one can stand a partner a dirty sack sitter. So he came as an unpartnered player. I lobbied really hard to manually partner him with another sack sitter, so that he would have to play basically with his own style to get a taste of his own medicine. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make that happen. I wanted to have him partner Rywar, who was Weir from Fix, but Weir actually came in with a partner, so we couldn't make that happen. But this is a team to watch, the Jubla team, just because like how he treats his partner and the chat is going to be hilarious.
So I will say this is a team that has a lot of potential to round into form towards it. All jokes aside about Jubla, and he can be a bit difficult at times. He is a good attacker.
He's a really good attacker. So when I'm doing this roast, like Jubla is a player that I fear, because it seemed like whenever I would find him in the random pool, he would be like 2100, and then he would play like 30 matches against me, and then he would be 2400 and I would be down to 2000, because he just like his style works really well against me. He would just rack up points every time he played me. And I kind of have I have a policy that I don't block people just because they absolutely own me. I only block people if they're just complete jerks. So I would find him in the random pool, and I would be like, oh God, it's Jubla. I got to give him all my points, but it's okay. After he goes to sleep, I can go get all those points back from other people and have them for the next match against Jubla.
I think the tournament, we need this in our lives. sometime in the near future, we need to set up a Bughouse tournament exclusive to sax sitters. Like we'll have a team of arbiters to determine whether or not you qualify as a sax sitter, and only sax sitters will be allowed to play in this tournament, and they will be partnered with sax sitters for the entire time. Just the memes from chat alone, from feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me. Oh, I need this, Chuck. I've never wanted anything more in my entire life. Just oh.
Yeah, Gus McLean is another sax sitter, but Gus McLean he really he makes it work much better.
Oh yeah, my favorite is when a sax sitter makes me play down 3 pieces and is like, play safer. I'm like, talk. There's only so much I can do when he has 3 more pieces than me. I'm only a man.
So let's look at Group H. The Return of the Lagger, he wanted us to give like his chances in the tournament. I mean, I think these guys will clearly finish number one in their section.
Get past Beetlebee and Stressorist, I think that they have good chances of winning this section. But
yeah, no, I think they'll win the section, but there's other interesting people in the section. So K Higgins 89 and Cracktix, first of all, they have a bye their first round, and they were manually partnered with each other. They entered individually. Cracktix was the guy who was on my stream last night. Said some things, may not have been Twitch friendly, may have had a drink or two. And
is this the least Twitch friendly team in all of chess? Because
I don't think we did this intentionally, but these two players are both not Twitch friendly, so they're gonna have some interesting conversations with each other.
So they're gonna be the leaders in
Cracktix. So last night, I can't say for sure because he wasn't on camera, but I think he may have had a drink or two or 8. Because he did get progressively more aggressive, and half the time we weren't sure who he was talking to really. But he insisted on partnering me. We played some games, and I lost, I think, 70 points partnered with him, because he kept saying that he had computer problems where he couldn't move his pieces, and as heroic as I was on my board, we had some staggering losses of like a minus 15 points over and over again. But the interesting thing wasn't so much that we lost 70 points. It was that immediately afterwards, he decided to challenge everyone in my chat to play him for money. He was like, you guys are roasting me. Any of you want to play Bughouse for money? And in all honesty, like he may have been throwing, because I've known him over the board for years, for at least 15 years. And I've seen him do that where like he will lose a bunch of like matches for fun, and then he will aggressively bait people into playing him for money, and then he plays much, much better when he plays for money. So I think he sacrificed me just to try to bait a money match, but no one was biting. And anyway, K Higgins 89 was, and I'm not using this as a slur, this was his actual handle. His handle was retard on the free internet chess server. And both of them were very aggressive in the Channel 24 chat over the years. Channel 24 was ostensibly for discussing Bughouse and arranging matches and things like that, but really it was the trash talk channel, and these guys were both kind of the king of trash talk. So the fact that we have two trash talkers who are partnered to each other could be very interesting. Above them, we have... Oh, go ahead.
I'm not super familiar with Cracktix or Higgins' playstyle and how much they played. I do like generally think like when I have seen Higgins play, like he seems to be playing like stronger than the rating I usually see him at.
Yeah,
like,
K Higgins I think is often very rusty, but has just a huge history of Bughouse. So when he gets back in form, he is very, very strong.
Yeah, that's a team that like could surprise people. It's hard for me to really gauge their strength. I'm not too familiar with any of the teams in this group outside of the Lakers, so it's hard for me to have like a, a very strong opinion on it. But that Laker team is gonna be tough to beat. Like they're like the poster boys for coordination and communication. They've played with each other so much. They're so familiar with their styles and the type of flow that they like, and yeah, they really get their money's worth out of being in voice call, and I think they are able to like squeeze more value out of this than just like a random team that's in voice because they're so good at coordinating.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, Return of the Lagger is maybe the greediest person on this planet,
I'm
or
pretty
at
greedy.
least in the
I'm
chunk
pretty greedy.
category. I've seen Return of the Lagger die for his beliefs to win a pawn, but I've
I
seen you
have
also.
died more times than I can count to win a pod.
Yeah, let me just like you two are at the top of the I will do whatever it takes to win this
And
piece
just
category.
to emphasize for people who may not be familiar with my playing style, on the free internet chess server, there was a guy named James Bod who he wrote a script that would import the PGNs of Bughouse games and analyze them to see, and it would post statistics based on that. And one of the statistics was like how often they pre-moved, like the pre-move percentage. Uh, Another of the statistics was how many pawns they would win or lose in a given game. And he made a leaderboard for it, both for white and black. And I was, I think, number two on the leaderboard for both white and black. And as for number of pawns won. And this is out of hundreds and hundreds of players, many of whom were much higher rated than I was. And number one was different for white versus black, and like radically different. I think the number one for white and black were like I don't know, like number 10 at most for the other color. I was number two for both colors among a lot of active players.
Yeah, me saying Return of the Lagger is on that level of greed is no disrespect to you. You are truly you have established yourself as one greedy mofo. Like the things you will do for a single pot. I'm convinced that if you had a kid, you would be willing to sell him to win one pawn with the black pieces.
Puns are important. Okay, so we have Draleth. Draleth here. I'm not familiar with Draleth's partner, but Draleth is one of the very strong Czech players, Czech Republic. I forget his fixed handle off the top of my head. If I heard it, like I would, or no, I now remember. It's Alamar. Draleth is Alamar from Fix, and he's been a very strong player for years and years. He plays like a Saxon style, but much like Gus McLean, like after he sacks, if he's like down on time, he can find some solid moves to roll out. So
That's
he's
interesting. I was just because like most of my memories playing against Stralith are from like playing more for his partner's board. Now that might have just been a function of when I played him,
well,
he's usually been partnered to
yeah,
Ska.
yeah. It's if your partner's at Skaz is one of those Saxiter people
Yeah,
who
like we played for my
demands
board on
that
move
we
one.
always play for his board. So I think Draleth obliges. But
Okay, that might be it. Yeah, without knowing much about his partner and only having played him in the context with Sky, it's like hard for me to comment on these teams. But
yeah,
like Jonathan is also a player who I find he's often rated higher than the strength that I think he is on chess.com. Like I've seen him at like 2,500 plus, which I think is a little too high for him. And it's hard for me to like evaluate how strong he actually is because I still think he's like a very strong player. Like he's at least 2,300 plus, arguably even like 2,400 plus in form. But it's hard for me to gauge like my actual like evaluation of his strength.
yeah. So
And
the Bughouse coach is Zap from Free Internet Chess Server. So he's played for years and years.
many
I'm not
fake OGs coming out of the woodwork
a
to
lot
play
of
this
fixed
one.
OGs. I'm not sure off the top of my head who Jarmax is, but I assume someone he knows. I assume he entered as a team rather than individually, but I'm not familiar off the top of my head. Let's see, going up here. Oh, Fumatox plus Terra 87. I'm not that
Oh,
familiar with Terra 87, but Fumatox, he was Golem from the Free Internet Chess server. He I remember he showed up for a Bughouse gathering in Berlin, and basically we play for fun on Thursday and Friday, and then we have this try hard tournament on Saturday, and then we play for fun on Sunday. And he kind of showed up on Friday night and never introduced himself. He just like walked in and he's like, "Can I play a few games?" And we were like, "This is Bughouse," and we tried explaining the rules to him, and he sat down and he absolutely crushed. And then we were like, maybe you should play in this tournament we have tomorrow. You seem pretty good. And he's like, okay, I can play in the tournament. And like most people had like for this Berlin tournament would pick a partner, 6 months in advance and would like train online. But he was just like, anyone want a partner? and and he got like a random partner, and I think he ended up finished like third place that year, just like walking off the street.
I'm a
And
pretty weak chess player in comparison to my Bughouse strength. Nothing is more enjoyable to me than when I'm at a chess tournament and people see how low rated I am, and I see some title players playing Bughouse, and it's like,
yeah,
oh, hey, can I play with you guys? And these title players learn that being good at chess does not necessarily translate to being good at
yeah, for
Bughouse.
sure. So we're told in the chat that Terra87 is a very strong Crazy House player,
Yes,
2400
sure.
plus strength. So yeah, this could be a very, very good team that could potentially have an upset here. Fumatax is known for upsets in Crazy House. He he finished really strong in a bunch of Crazy House World Championships in past years. So this could be an underrated team. I'm not sure how well they know each other or gel well with each other. Of
They
course,
actually
Cass.
partnered each other in BWC last year, and they had one of the most exciting matches of all time. I think this is still up on your YouTube channel. They had a match against another returning team, Chuckvoss and Dila, that went to overtime, if I believe correctly, and just narrowly lost in overtime against
Oh
Chuckvoss
no,
and
I,
Dila.
I I remember that, and I think last time we had the Bughouse World Championship, it kind of intersected with some problems on chess.com, with the
Yeah,
interface, and so Fumatax, he was playing like not in live chess but in play or something like that,
yeah, he
and
couldn't
it
see
just
his
like
partner's board.
it didn't work at all. He couldn't see his partner's board, so he actually lost like 2 or 3 games before he figured out how to fix that. Not only that, but they were not in voice chat, I believe, because they couldn't make that work. But
So
um, if they can put these problems aside, this is a team that can go really far. But the
so
up
I'm not gonna.
against Caspi and Purescence, kind of hard to beat them. They've played together last year too. They were in the top 4 finishers, and Caspi Israel has been an IM for about 15 years. Just got Grandmaster. So Caspi Israel, newly minted Grandmaster. They are both from
If
Israel.
there were a Bughouse Hall of Fame, Caspi would be first ballot Hall of Fame. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a point at which he was considered like the best player in the game, or if not that, he was at least like top three, top four at some
I,
point.
I don't
Uh,
I don't think he was ever considered like the best in the game, but he went to the Berlin tournament a few times, which has been the world championship over the board for years and years. And there's sort of a selection bias there in that a lot of strong players like have never made it to Berlin. Like 12 teens never been to Berlin, Chicken's never been to Berlin. But Caspi showed up to Berlin, and there were, a bunch of strong players there for sure. And the year he went to Berlin, he finished first in the big Saturday tournament, where you have like a set partner going in. We also had a second tournament on Sunday where you like rotated partners, and he won that one as well. So he won both tournaments that year in Berlin, and he's finished strong.
oh,
A
the
bunch of
double.
other years he went to Berlin too. And I don't think with Pure Essence he's played. I think he played one year with Ecarf actually, and I forget who he partnered the other year. But he usually partners Israelis basically.
So outside of Ego Smasher and Ecarf, who are also a number two seed in the group, I think this is a team that I would give the biggest chance to upset the number one seed. Now, I'm
Is
not going to
Fumitox
pick
and
them to
Terra,
beat
you say?
Caspian Pierce. Yeah, just because Fumitox is so good and Terra is like a very strong Crazy House player. I'm not going to pick them to win in part because Caspian Pearsons are also so good, but also I think a matchup with a player that doesn't have a ton of Bughouse experience and experience with just how quickly pieces can materialize out of nowhere, Pearsons is going to take advantage of that type of player. One of the strongest attack players ever. Like if you've never been inside on the opposite on the receiving side of a Pearsons attack, you fear for your life.
No, I know what you're saying for sure, but that like some people might look at Fumitox plus Terra and figure, oh, these are two Crazy House players who are teaming up and trying out this Bughouse thing. But that is not the case. Fumitox has a ton of Bughouse experience. Like he's not going to play it as if it's Crazy House and then get confused when pieces are coming from the other board instead of his board. Fumitox has a ton of Bughouse experience. I'm not as familiar with Terra, but I mean, I know they played together last year, so they do have Bughouse experience.
Yeah, so I was speaking more on the Terra. Terra's also like a strong Bughouse player. Like he's played a lot, but he doesn't often like play Bughouse consistently. Like I do find him playing ZH more than he plays Crazy House. And while like Fumitox is a Bughouse player, tried and true, like really, really good at the game. Terra is probably going to be on the bottom board there, and he's going to be the one having to defend against those Pearson's attacks. And you really want to be in form, playing a lot of games, ready to communicate, knowing exactly what pieces you need your partner to hold, when to sit when you're playing against a player like Pearson's. Like you really
Yeah.
have to have your coordination on point, which I think might be a taxing ask from a player who isn't playing Bughouse regularly, which to my knowledge Terra 87 isn't. I would still give them like a puncher's chance, and like I said, I think they have the second best odds out of any number two seed of pulling out an upset. I just with a slightly different matchup, I'd feel a little bit better about picking them in the upset. But I do think that
So
I'm going to have
the
Caspian
the,
Pearsons
the other
coming out
thing
as
is,
group.
I've played a lot with and against Caspi Israel, and Caspi he reminds me a lot of Pimenir in that he can make his partner a lot better with move suggestions. So like there are some Bughouse players out there who will like play their board and they'll ask for pieces and they'll hold pieces when they hurt their partner, and that'll be kind of the end of it. And then you have players who offer these move suggestions that it's not like they're silent, like they're not given like every move, but they know just the right time to look at the other board and suggest a move that is just devastating. And
Oh yeah.
and so I've seen that like in the Philadelphia area. I play over the board with Pimenir pretty regularly. We play basically once a month up until COVID, and usually we would pair like the high person with the low person, and because Pimenir is the strongest person in the area, we would partner him with like the worst person we could find. Like if we can find someone walking off the street who doesn't know how the chess pieces move, we would try to make Pimenir play with that person. And
So
Pimenir, he's just like he's just really good at. So very often I would be playing against Pimenir's partner, and I would be absolutely crushing him. And then Pimenir would like glance over, would suggest one move, and then the game would turn around. And I feel like that's something that Caspi Israel is good at also.
real quick, I just realized there's actually a match scheduled to be taking place now. And I believe it's actually underway. If you want to go and catch that up, I think we missed the start of it. It's
Yeah, we can
Gambita
go
Ruslan.
we can go look at
Uh,
that for sure.
It'll be our first U2000 match. One of these days, stream, I promise we're going to catch a match at the start of the match. Today will not be that day, but
Okay, so who am I
I'm,
following?
I'm trying to find the. I'll send you one of the usernames in Discord real quick while I try to pull up the game. Uh, okay, that's one of the players on team.
Okay,
Okay.
Gabitiev,
Oh, it
Rustia.
is. Wait, is this match over already? Oh no, it's first to eight. This is the final game.
Uh oh.
This is a clean sweep.
Where? Oh, I found it. Okay. Okay, so we have a 1900 and a 1600 versus a 1200 and 1100. So yeah, we would expect that that's going to be an uphill battle for the lower rated seed. So
The
he
U2000
he has
section is first to eight.
he has managed to pin a queen, but this queen trade is going to be very bad for his partner. Um, this is kind of a lesson for Sat V20. If you're being attacked like this, Um, I would not recommend waiting around till your partner gets the extra pieces that mate you. When you're
Shout out
defending,
to
you
Better.
gotta you gotta keep moving so that they get less pieces to hurt you.
In particular in U 2000, because there are so many groups that we have 32 groups and 192 teams, we are going to have a lot more variance in the rating distributions of these groups. So there are going to be some matches where, uh, like in open section, the difference between like the 1 and 4 seed might be like 200 or 300 points, and in the U 2000 section, we might be looking at like 1,000 plus differences between some of the seeds. That's okay. It's still that's a great thing about this tournament. Even if you get faced off with a monstrous team like this, that's much stronger in rating, you're gonna have several chances. Each team is gonna get to play every team in their bracket once. So you saw Satvi and Adiv, you still got plenty of time to come back from this.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. And I would recommend that people, to the extent possible, look back at their games and try to find better moves and learn from their losses. Um, so this is an opportunity in this case to play the better players than you normally might encounter in the random pool, because usually the random pool, if you're seeking, most people will seek like plus minus 400, so you're unlikely to encounter like a 1900 in that context.
well,
So here's the fleeing
it
coming.
was fun seeing this one game in this match. I'm sorry, Jed, for not keeping a better eye out.
No, no,
I
it's fine.
didn't realize this match was so close. But,
Yeah, so
um,
so this the under 2000 section plays with a 3-minute time control, and it is best of 14, which means that 8-6 would be a win by 2 situation. Here we have 8-0, which means that it's over. The other team can't possibly catch up. Assuming there were no aborts early on, which we don't know for sure. And Scary Snakes is asking them all to fill out the results form.
um, So one thing to note, like we talked a little bit earlier about the tiebreaks, which aren't fully set in stone, but in all likelihood, it will be game percentage and average opponent rating. If it behooves you to like try and win as many games as possible, because if you get swept 8-0, that means you don't get a chance to win more games to earn the match points. I don't think this will actually change the way teams are
No,
approaching it. Like
well,
obviously, teams
uh,
are going to try to win every game they can.
no,
Uh,
but I thought it's not just the number of games you win; it's the game win percentage, right?
oh,
So
that's right. I don't know how numbers work. Forget
so
everything that I
so the
said.
the
I am
the
not
game
smart.
win percentage, is going to be better if you sweep. Thanks for the follow from
Um, oh,
Sky
I was
Dragon.
thinking
Really
more
appreciate
from
it.
the yeah, I was thinking more from the perspective of the losing team. Like, since you don't play all, like, if we played all 14 games, in theory, they might have won more games. But because we cut the match off at 8, they don't get a chance to potentially win more games in those following 6 games. But what I said doesn't make sense when you think about percentages and how numbers work. So let's pretend I didn't say them, and everyone in the stream will still think I'm smart.
Thank you for the follow from Sharath Carnage.
I
Okay,
don't know we talked about that mate from Satvi, by the way, or I'm sorry, from Belakai, by the way, but that was very accurate. When she went Queen F7, she could have gone Pawn at F7, which was still going to be leading to mate after King E7, but this is like an accurate mate in 3. Queen F7 cut off the queen, takes F8, and then Knight F8 is forced checkmate.
So I'm going to go back to the open section brackets to see if there's other people we want to talk about. We're kind of looking group by group.
Yeah, we had a few more groups to.
So group F, we have at the top we have Little Plotkin per Super Pauna, and Super Pauna I believe is Granda My Grande. So
Yes,
so
that
that
is true.
is a team that finished I believe third or fourth at the last. Or no, I'm sorry. I think they were eliminated before third to fourth. They might have been.
Oh, they
Would
were in the candidates.
they were in the
Yeah,
semifinals?
they finished third. Yeah,
Yeah, they finished third. Okay.
yeah, because the candidates were Caspia Israel and Presence, Grana My Grande, and Little Plotkin finished third, and then second place was J Kid and Go Go Burritos, and first place was 12 Teen and Chicken
Okay,
Cross
yeah,
Road.
I think you're right about that. And right below them, Fighting for Respect and Quick Dash, they went pretty far last year
This
in
is
the open
another.
section.
If you just look on like overall strength, as like this is one of the strongest number two seeds in the tournament, and if they were in like any of these lower groups, I would have given them very real chances of pulling an upset over the number one seed. But
I do think
Plotkin and Grind are an absolute monster.
right. Yeah,
And
Block and Grind are gonna beat them for sure, but
yeah.
they have pretty good chances to lock up that number two spot. Fighting for Respect is, I think, probably a little bit rusty. A Quick Dash is just in the pool all the time, so Quick Dash is not rusty at all.
One
But
thing
these
I
are both
will
very
note
strong
about Quick
players.
Dash, because I when I actually played this game regularly, I played a lot with Quick Dash, and he's normally strong, and like normally a tough opponent, but a lot of the time when he's playing, we saw this effect
Oh
in
shoot,
BWC last year.
I'm sorry, my bad.
No,
Okay,
no, you're good.
no,
But a lot.
I forgot to change OBS
Oh,
to look
the
at
layout,
the
gotcha.
layout. So my fault, guys.
Yeah, a lot of times when Quick Dash is playing, he's actually playing while he's in a meeting or in a phone call. He's playing in the background. I do not have the brain cells to multifunction like that. But when we saw Quick Dash and Tigers in actual match form, they put off what were a lot of surprising upsets to everyone else. And I think part of that's due to the fact that we were seeing unleashed Quick Dash at full power. And also from the match interviews last year, we learned that these two players spent a lot of time preparing for their particular opponents and really thinking out not just opening prep, but actual match strategy and the type of positions that they want to achieve. So
Yeah,
I
and
think
if you really
that's a
want
team
to
that could
go
go really
far
far in the
in the
tournament.
tournament and overperform, then yeah, match prep is recommended because you can look in your opponents, your scheduled opponents. You can look and see what openings they normally play and how to crack those openings and be ready for them.
So as strong as I think that team is relative to most two seeds in this tournament, I do not believe that they're getting past Blacken and Grind. In fact, that's actually a rematch from last year.
It
They
is a rematch. Yeah, the
yeah,
Blocken and Grind is who eliminated them.
yeah, they played each other for a chance to enter the top four candidates, and Quick Dash and Tigers were cut short. That was the same time me and Eskin got cut short with a similarly. We pulled off maybe an upset or two, and then we went into an absolute buzzsaw, and we were put in our place. Very, yeah, very excited to see that team in the later stages. And even Dark Shrine and Thor, that's another like very strong team for a three seed.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit unfortunate that they're having to go up against Fighting for Respect and Quick Dash. I think there are a lot of two seeds where they could like plausibly have won that matchup, but I do feel pretty confident that the top two seeds are advancing from this group.
Yeah, the top two seeds are going to advance. The, I mean, there's the wild cards of the other. I guess is it 8 teams that fill the open bracket after all the top two seeds advance.
Yeah,
But it's going to be tough in brackets like this for the number 3 seeds to rack up a bunch of victories and get those tiebreak points to earn those slots, which is unfortunate for Thor Advance and Darkshine. They'll have to sweep against Yellow Moon and Navpad to have chances of that. And get on the board versus the top 2 teams.
And wow, this is like just a team. This bracket is like one of the most stacked teams in it. Like
All these
even
brackets
Naveen
are
and Grand
stacked.
Mesty have. Well, okay, this is true, but I like so many of the teams in this group are like underrated. Like I think the team of like Naveen and Grand Mesty is going to be stronger than a lot of the other 5 seeds in this tournament. So good luck to everyone in that bracket. There are some absolute killers there. That I'm really curious to see how all the matches like turn out this bracket.
Yeah, so above this in Group E, we have Chicken and Helm's Knight, who are of course expected to advance. Helm's Knight is somewhat rusty. Helm's Knight spent over a year not playing a single game of Bughouse, and then when she got wind of this tournament, Played a few games with Chicken Cross the Road, um, like a week or two ago, and hasn't played since then. So, so she is definitely still rusty. There's another tournament coming up this weekend where I believe she's going to partner GSVC in the Chess Done Quick event. So they're favored to win for sure, and she'll get unrusted from that.
We need to put GSVC in that Mount Rushmore with you and Return of the Lagger of greedy
He
mofos.
does love his bonds for sure.
Now the difference is GSVC somehow is achieved the Jedi mind trick of grabbing all this material while literally always being safe. Trying to checkmate GSVC is one of the most infuriating endeavors like one can ever go out there. That man is. I don't understand how he can take all of my pieces and be safe. It's insane. But yeah.
And I'm not familiar with some of these people here, but the number 4 seed Rywar is Weir from Fix, who is another attack sitter. He's from the Czech Republic. So that I mean, Sando Kranum and Rywar, they might overperform as a number 4 seed for sure. Because Rywar just plays all the time.
Sound the alarm. I'm calling the upset alert. Sheikah is so incredibly strong.
So like Sheikah is from Israel, is that right? Or am I thinking of someone else?
Yes, yeah. And I'm not familiar with the mayor, but on the back of just my respect for Sheikah as a player, like he's one of those like really good all-around Bughouse players who is good at chess, good at playing for his partner's board, good at playing for his board, fast player. Like he really has no weaknesses in his game. Now he's maybe not elite at any of these skills in the same level as when we think of like all of these top players. Like he's never going to be the best attacker, he's never going to be the most solid player, he's not the fastest, but he's like well above average in all of these qualities. He's just a really good all-around player. And Dinesh V, I think he's played like a fair amount of Bughouse. I think the 2 players above them, they're a team of titled players, and I think Dinesh is like an actual Bughouse player who's played a bit. I haven't seen Liga play a lot, so I'm not sure if he is just a titled player who plays chess somewhere and plays a little bit of Bughouse, or he might actually be a Bughouse player. But I would not be shocked to see Sheikah and the mayor come out of this group, even without knowing much about the other players. They're just on the back of having Sheikah on your team and being a 3rd seed. That's a scary 3rd seed to have to face.
Yeah, for sure. So above this, we have in the group D, so Bootface Killer and 111 Michael, both very strong players. Miss Fairy Queen and Abby, are for sure a great team, but we saw them play. We saw them play earlier, and they didn't necessarily always gel together well. Because
they've had a couple of high-profile bad outings recently, which to me is quite surprising. Like I might be in the minority on this, but I actually really like that combination of players, like their combination of skills. Like I really thought that it would mesh well together. I think long term, I'm still not worried about this team. I think this team is still going to do.
No, yeah, well. I think they're still gonna. I think they're still gonna overcome the rest of the field, but this is another place where I could potentially see an upset. It's unlikely but possible, because Poopface Killer and 111 Michael are both very strong players, and I don't know for sure how well they're going to gel with each other. If they gel really well together, and Miss Fairy Queen and Abby don't gel as well together, that's a potential upset. But it's hard to predict that in advance.
Yeah, this is one of the most interesting brackets with the top 3. I do think that there's a pretty stark cutoff after the top 3, which we don't see in the other groups. Like in the other groups, like I think there's like the 4th best team is a little bit closer to the 3rd best team, and here, like I think those 3 teams are just clearly a cut above better than the 4th and 5th teams in this bracket. So I really think it's going to come down to those teams against each other. And Fairy and Abby are of course the favorites, but yeah, like Jazzy and Michael, they have the speed to really put pressure on their opponents, and it could be a tricky matchup. And let's not sleep on this third team here. Hopeful Win, also known as Ken from Fix, and Jeremy Durham. They're two
Oh,
players,
hopeful win is
ton of
Ken from
Bughouse
Fix. I
experience.
didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their styles, I think, also are going to really mesh well together. Ken from Fix usually has been a very aggressive attacking player, though he's balanced his style a bit more in recent years. But he, a lot of times, I think, feels more comfortable when he's playing aggressively and has initiative. And Jeremy is a lot of times more comfortable when he's playing for his partner. So I think stylistically, that's going to mesh well. Um, Ken from Fix isn't terribly fast, but he's not slow. So, and
So
Jeremy Durham is a
uh,
very, very fast player.
honestly, looking at this matchup, like I don't think Ken from Fix and Jeremy Durham. I don't think there's any chance they would upset Miss Fairy Queen and Abby. Whereas Poopface Killer and One Woman Michael, it's like very unlikely but possible. There's just no chance Ken from Fix is going to upset Miss Fairy Queen. But
I can see that
but
happening.
there's a real chance that Ken from Fix and Jeremy Durham can upset Poopface Killer and One Woman Michael. And again, it depends just
Oh,
how the teams gel with one another.
I would
But
love to see a three-way tie-break in action. Like if those three teams like rock, paper, scissors split with each other. I, I'm I don't think any of the matches are going to be competitive except for those three against each other, but I am going to be all ears when we get to see those three teams face each other.
Return of the
That
Laggers is saying Jeremy and Ken have good synergy. Yeah, that may well be the case. We'll see. Yeah, and Ken is another, like when I mentioned Jubla as someone I fear in the random pool. Ken from Fix, another person I fear in the random pool. And I actually, so first of all, I'm the first player that he ever met over the board and played Bughouse with. So I played over the board with Ken from Fix many years ago. Um, Additionally, I should say that I had mentioned before that I never block someone just because they absolutely own me. I only block someone if they're a total jerk. But Ken gave me a reprieve because he was just a total jerk who I felt comfortable blocking him. And then I didn't have to get owned from him for like over a year. I had him blocked. And then
I am.
and then he apologized. And let me give more context. The reason he's a total jerk is he's what is known as like a sore winner. That like at the end of any game where he beats you, he would come into the chat and he would say, "You suck. You're terrible. Why do you even play this game?" He would just like lay into you. And I don't need that sort of negativity in my life, so I just like hit the block button. Um, but he apologized. He said he won't do that anymore, and that I should unblock him, and I did, which was a it was a strategic decision on his part because now he gets to take all of my points every time I play against him, and all he has to do to get all of my points is just to hold his tongue and not type in the public chat how much I suck. He can just like type it in a notepad file and keep that for himself. And that's a
Imagine like his
strategy that he's
internal
employed.
monologue and the struggle like, oh, I want these points, but man, I need Chuck to know how bad he is. If I don't tell him, who will? Uh,
So the,
oh,
the the next team after that, the number 4 seed, Beerly and Vision Planer, they are both from Germany. I believe the Berlin area, but may not, maybe I think from the Berlin area, and They partnered each other for years in the Bughouse World Championship, the Berlin tournament, um, and they so they very good friends, played for years. It's funny they actually had a fallen out because Beerly, I think, wanted to have a better chance to win the Berlin tournament, so he dumped Vision Planer and picked up a stronger partner. And
oh
Vision
no.
Vision Planer, also known as Architect, Vision Planer said, Beerly dumped me. That's kind of bad. I'm gonna try to get an even better partner to crush Beerly." So he talked to Vampire Slayer and said to Vampire Slayer, "Hey, if I fly you out and pay for all of your travel expenses, will you be my partner in the Berlin tournament?" And Vampy said, "That sounds like a good deal to me." So for like I think 3 years in a row, Vision Planer paid all of Vampy's expenses in exchange for Vampy being his partner, and they practiced for like 6 months in advance, like every Sunday on chess.com to prepare for the tournament. And they actually they one year they won the B final, which is sort of like the losers bracket, and one year they finished very strong in the main tournament. I think like fourth or something like that, which is like pretty impressive. So yeah, and of course every time he partnered Vampire Slayer, he finished higher than Beerly did. But
That is so petty, and I love it.
but they are back in action together.
Also, shout outs to Vampy. I would not have ever reached the 2,500 threshold if it were not so her. I remember back in the 2,200 Scary Snakes days grinding. She was impossible. She was my kryptonite. Every time I saw her in the random pool, I was like, I'm just dead on move two. Like, every time. I don't know why. And like there are other like very strong player attackers that I ran into, like Hin and Jubla, like back when I was on that level, but it felt playable. But Vampy, she used to destroy me, and that was a
She
big
still destroys me. Vampy's a very strong player. I'm trying to recruit Vampy to partner me some more. But I talked to her just like last night, in fact. But so
Lagger, I remember.
So anyway, I should mention that him partnering Vampy, it wasn't about Vampy just like ignoring everything he did and carrying. You know, Vampy has been coaching Vision Planer for years, so I think Vision Planer has improved immensely through Vampire Slayer's tutelage. So, okay, let's go up to the next section. We have Grand Delicious plus Zyzon. Zyzon is Firefly from Fix, has been at the top of the Bughouse game for over 20 years. And when I say top of the Bughouse game, like there's definitely been periods where he was like number one, but usually he's not like number one on the leaderboard, but he's always in like the top five for like decades. And like just to have that staying power, because there are people who play for a bunch of years and then they get tired of Bughouse and they leave, and then new people kind of take their place, and you know, some people improve a lot and eventually make their way to the leaderboards. But Zyzon, he's just there. He just has never stopped playing Bughouse, and he continues to be at the top of the game. The way the Berlin tournament generally worked over a 20-year period is Zyzon or Firefly would always finish first with whatever partner he had, except for the years that Grand Delicious played. And when Grand Delicious played, Grand Delicious partnered Midnight Fox, and they swept for like 5 years in a row. It started out when Grand Delicious was, I think, like 14 or 15 years old. They went to the Berlin tournament and they won like 5 years in a row. And the reason they won, by the way, is they noticed that their only real competition was Zyzon, and they just studied his openings for hours and hours beforehand.
Oh, you nerds!
Yeah,
I hope you feel good about yourself.
So Midnight Fox and Grand Delicious they felt that they could run the field except for Zyzon, so they had to prepare for him, and they prepared for him, and they defeated him. You know, all those years. Zyzon, apart from those losses, I think he lost maybe a year or two versus Caspi wins. And other than that, like every year is a Zyzon victory. And every year that's not a Zyzon victory, he finishes second place for sure, no matter who his partner is. And now these guys are partnering each other, which is such a strong team. And I think this is like an underrated team. Like a lot of people have been saying that like 12 Teen and Blitz Bullet and Katask and Jeffrey are for sure going to be top two. And, you know, they round out the top four with maybe Plotkin and Grind or Chicken and Helms. But Grand Delicious and Zyzon, like in my opinion, for sure is going to be in the top four teams and may even be in the top one or two teams. This is a really solid team. Grand Delicious is, I mean, this is Nils Gregilius. He's a strong GM. Like there are GMs that play Bughouse, but like there's a difference between like weak GMs and like super GMs. And Grand Delicious, he plays like at top level tournaments. Grand Delicious is a really good GM
2600 plus.
and also super good at Bughouse. He's rusty at Bughouse for sure, but when he gets in form, this is going to be just a great team.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels between this team and another team with a very strong chess player with a Bughouse history and pedigree that we're going to be talking about pretty soon. But like, if that team is in form and Grandalicious is playing the way he's capable of, like he plays Bughouse and gets into form, sweet mercy, Lord help us all. That team can beat literally anyone in a match when they are on form. I might not pick them to be favored, but they have real chances to win this tournament if we see them playing to the level that they're capable of.
For sure. And in the chat, Radon has asked, what is Nubla's Bughouse rating? I assume he means Jubla. Jubla usually varies between 2100 and 2400. Usually is around 2200. That's when he was active. Recently, as in like the past year, I think he's played a lot more 4-player chess than he has Bughouse. So I think he's somewhat rusty at Bughouse. But yeah, he's a fairly strong player.
So would you like there's kind of a stark
we have Grande Grande in the chat, and he said he thinks I'm joking about Grand Delicious and Zizon. I'm not joking. These guys are a team to watch. I agree with you. Like for sure, the favorites right now are 12-team and Blitzbullet, and Katask and Jeffrey. I'm just saying, don't count Grand Delicious out. It's very possible for there to be. I don't even know if I'd call it an upset because this is just a strong team period, but. It's possible for them to finish one or two.
The top two teams I do think are comfortably the best teams. So I'm just saying this team has very real chances of beating them. And just for a little teaser for you guys listening, 12-team and Blitzbullet, very strong team. They are not my favorites to win the tournament. Now I don't know if you guys will be able to guess who is. It's really tough to say. But
well, let's look at Group B first. So. Just to provide some lore for people who might not be familiar, again, this is the second annual Bughouse World Championship played on chess.com. So last year, 12-team partnered to Chicken and just ran the field. Blitzbullet was partnered to Go-Go Burritos and finished second. And there was some controversy because at the end, Blitzbullet and Go-Go Burritos kind of had a falling out and did not want to play with each other. So we didn't really have the final that we wanted to see. But many people thought that Chicken and Blitzbullet would have just defeated them anyway, and they did kind of in the candidates. I think they played head-to-head at one point before the finals anyway. But
yes.
But 12-team and Blitzbullet, pretty much ran the... 12-team and Chicken pretty much ran the field. This year, 12-team decided not to partner Chicken again and instead partnered Blitzbullet. And many people thought this team would be just like the clear favorite, head and shoulders above everyone else. And we're wondering also, like, what was Chicken going to do? And Chicken came in there at the last minute and partnered Helm's Knight, which, in my opinion, was a plot all along where Chicken was going to try to get everyone to think that Helm's Knight wasn't playing in this tournament, and then at the last second was gonna just like sweep her up. So after 12-team had already committed to partner with Blitzbullet, Chicken went and grabbed Helm's Knight. But yeah, 12-team and Blitzbullet, they're both players who are national masters. Who is just ridiculous that they're national masters rather than FIDE masters or international masters or grandmasters. So for those not familiar with 12-team,
they are both grandmasters in bullet. They have like 2,900 plus bullet
right.
ratings.
They have higher bullet ratings than most grandmasters for sure. So for those of you who aren't familiar with 12-team, I mean, number one, 12-team and Chicken won last year's Bughouse World Championship. Number two, 12-team has won the Crazy House World Championship in the past, and I believe is the defending champion this year. Is that right? I think he's defending champion.
12-team is the defending champion. The candidates are still
so he's super good at Crazy House too. He's also really good at chess. So on this other website, Lee Chess, they have now I always forget what the tournament is called, but it's basically a tournament once a month that only titled players can join, and like all the best titled players do join. Like Magnus Carlsen plays this regularly, and it's at a bullet time control, and it's either 2 or 3 hours of just a tournament where you can berserk if you want, which means that you cut your time in half, and you get like more tournament points if you win that game. Anyway, Magnus Carlsen plays this tournament. But if you look at the leaderboard of any of those Lichess titled tournaments, what you'll see every tournament is GM, 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 GM. And like the only people who are not a GM that you're going to see in like the top 20 are 12 Teen, who usually finishes in the top 10. Sometimes in the top 5, 12 Teen will finish. I think 12 Teen actually won when they had one of those, but it was Fisher Random. It was 960 instead of normal. He won that. And the other one you'll see who's not a GM, and 12 Teen is an NM, by the way, so it'll be like GM, 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 NM, GM, 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 GM. The other one you'll see is Opera Wiesen, who's an international master. So Opera Wiesen will also be, he's often in the top 3. So there's one IM, the rest GMs, and then there's NM 12 Teen. So he's super good at chess.
I would love to see Opera play in this tournament, by the way, but yeah, we could talk a bit more about 12 Teen.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see Opera play. Opera is
12 Teen and Blitzbullet.
Yeah, so Blitzbullet is also very strong. Blitzbullet has been in the Bughouse World Championship for many years. He had an infamous moment where he lost a critical match because he was trying to promote to knight, but he had auto queen on. Auto queen on, so it promoted to a queen and lost to Jan Li. But Blitzbullet, again, has been playing Bughouse for years and years. I've met both of these guys and played with them in person at the World Open. I remember Blitzbullet when I met him. Well, first of all, 12 Teen when I met him was, I think, like 15 or 16, something like that. And now he's like about to graduate university. Blitzbullet, when I met him, I think he was 14 years old, and he was wearing a cast on one arm. He'd broken like his right arm, and he was Simulant with like his left hand, which is his non-dominant hand, and he was still crushing everyone. So he's been playing Bughouse for years and years. And this is just a super stacked team, because they also have like similar styles where they're really good at bulleting out moves, and that they're strong attackers. They'll just like they find these tactics to like just clear the board and win a bunch of pieces while attacking.
And I'll clarify a little bit. It's not just that they're strong tactics, because they are. Like, I would add also, they are maybe 2 of the best pure calculators, and not calculation in the like classical sense that we think of in chess. Like, their ability to calculate mates and ideas quickly in Bughouse is some of the best I've ever seen. Like, not only that they're able to find these nice ideas, but how quickly they're able to sacrifice mate and convert on their winning positions without forcing their partner to have to defend for a longer period of time while they're trying to finish off their opponent's king. They're really good at calculating, and they also just find some like very cool ideas in their game. It's this team is so tough to play because they can literally beat you anyway. Like, they put a ton of pressure on you with their speed, so you don't want to get downtown them, because like 5 seconds can feel like an eternity, and they can just beat you in a bullet. But if you try to match their speed, one, you're still not going to be playing as fast as them unless you're one of the fastest players in the world. And the cost for you on your move quality to try and even come close to keeping up with their speed is going to result in a lot more holes in your position, and they're just going to take advantage of it so quickly.
That's true for sure.
Team.
But one interesting thing about both 12 Teen and Blitzbullet is part of the reason that they're so fast is they're pre-moving like practically everything, and in doing so, they are anticipating all of your moves. So it's not only that they play strong moves, but that they figure out what the strongest move is for you to make before you make it, and they're ready for it. So the paradoxically, like often the way to beat 12 teen is to play a weaker move because he anticipates that you're going to play like the strongest move and then you play something else and it ends up anti-pre-moving. Because they both they give a lot of credit to their opponent, like they anticipate the strongest moves. um, so yeah, Grind thinks that Blitz Bullet is an upgrade over Chicken. Blitz Bullet definitely has a different style from Chicken. And may balance out with 12 teen style better because Blitz Bullet is just more of a speed based player. Chicken is more of an overall balanced player who is just good at attacking, good at defending, and a good coordinator, and just makes his partner better. So it's a different style for sure. And I don't know which matches up better with 12 teen in the end, but this is going to be a different dynamic than partner and Chicken.
I think specifically for the tournament where they're going to be playing at the highest teams, the Chicken's so good. I think that I might agree with a Grind specifically for this context, just because when you're playing against the other top 2 or 3 teams in this tournament, I think that speed is going to unlock a lot more avenues, even if we say that like Chicken's average move quality is maybe a little bit higher, which I'm not even sure how true that is. That they're both like crazy strong players. If you asked me last year, I probably would have said I think Chicken's a little bit stronger than JK, but I think I agree with that assessment. I think I would take JK slightly over Chicken, and particularly for the matchups that they're playing. I think that this pairing is going to do better than a Chicken and a.
I know Grind tends to put a really big premium on speed as to what he thinks makes a player like really good, and I tend to disagree with that. I think move quality is more important than speed, but I understand where Grind is coming from, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. So also
Chicken also plays some of the trickiest moves of all time. Like
yes.
when you're playing these Chicken moves, like you can't move fast. He's going to make you think, wait, what's he doing? What? Like he makes you account for so many more things. So his functional speed, he's already a fast player, but his functional speed is increased even more by all of these tricks that he comes up with, and that he's better at than pretty much any other player on the face of the planet. Like splitting hairs, like I would listen to an argument for either player being the better player. They're both clearly top 5 players right now.
They're both way up there. So also in Group B we have Vector Veld plus A Zarkov. We just saw them play earlier, and A Zarkov is going to be streaming a lot of these matches in Russian. So
2-3 matchups going to be very interesting. Like
so
I think
I was just going to say anyone out there who is watching this and happens to have Russian as their native language, like be sure to follow A Zarkov, because you can learn a lot of Bughouse from his analysis, and it's probably just easier to hear in your native language. Period. Oh, go ahead though.
Oh, I was just saying this might be the closest like 2-3 matchup we have in the tournament. I'd have to look back, but Constant Out to Play are very, very strong, and to me seem like very close in strength to Vector Veld and Sarkov. That
I'm not familiar with these guys. Okay.
I do think 12 teen and Blitz Bullet are going to win every game in this match, and I actually don't think that they're going to lose a single. I think they're going to win all of their matches 9-0. Which, by the way, quick shout out to Midnight Fox last year. Chuck talked earlier about just how dominant 12 teen was during the tournament. 12 teen and Chicken were during the tournament. They didn't drop a single game in the single elimination phase. Like the matches were still 1st to 9, except for one game to one team, and that was Midnight Fox and PKNM. We're the only team to take a game off them before the candidate stage, where some of those teams I think got a few more off of them, but
so let's look at Group A here. So Katask and Jeffrey Zhang, this was very surprising to us, because a bunch of people asked Katask if he was going to play in this tournament, and he kept saying no, he was not. And Katask he kind of took the Bughouse World by storm in the past year and a half, and also the Crazy House World by storm. He came out of nowhere, and it was just like literally like like a top player, where people on their mind is like, is this the number one player in the world? And maybe he is. If he's not the number one player in the world, then he's like certainly in Bughouse, certainly in the top four. Crazy House certainly in the top three, and came literally from nowhere. So like most of the people who are at the top of the Bughouse or the Crazy House leaderboard have been playing for like 5-10 years, maybe more, and just have this wealth of experience. And didn't start playing and were the best from the moment they started, but it took them a while to grind up to that strength. Katask, he just showed up and was immediately around number one. So Katask is just really strong. Jeffrey Girong is a grandmaster. He loves playing Bughouse.
Interest none.
Yeah, he was interest none on the free internet chess server, and he had to play on the down low because he comes from a family where his parents were really interested in their kid becoming the world champion. So they put a lot of effort into making him really good at chess, like hiring good coaches, put in chess, above school and in the priority list. But his parents were of the mindset that Bughouse is a distraction from chess and hurts your chess. So like whenever they saw him play Bughouse, they like made him knock it off. Like they wouldn't let him play Bughouse like at chess tournaments, wouldn't let him play Bughouse with friends. So he had to create a secret account on Fix and log on whenever his parents weren't looking and play a ton of Bughouse there. And he's been playing Bughouse for years and years and is very strong. Nowadays, he gets to make more of his own decisions and gets to return to his first love. But Jeffrey Jiang is, I think he's like 19 or 20 or something like that, like very recently above 18, and is playing at the Grandmaster level in a lot of these like high level tournaments. He's not like a weak random GM. He is a strong GM who is also very strong at Bughouse. So this is just a monster team.
Fun fact: Jeffrey is actually from the Dallas area, so I went to school at the University of Texas at Dallas. A lot of Bughouse players came from. Shout out
Chicken. So Chicken Cross Road and High Dude also went to University of Texas at Dallas, as does Caminator. All just going there right now.
As a freshman in college, like I would go to tournaments and see Jeffrey there and see this like 10-year-old kid, this like 2300 FM or something, just obliterating GMs on our team. I was like, what's happening? These what am I watching? So yeah, crazy talented chess player. And
yeah, Combo Kid liked to say he told the story frequently where he was at a tournament with Kazam, Gulamali Rises, and they saw Jeffrey Jiang playing, and so Combo Kid turned to Kazam and said, "What do you think of Jeffrey? Like, do you think he's gonna like be like a GM someday?" And Kaz was just like, "Holy shit, this guy has so much potential. Like, for sure he's gonna be a GM. The only question is he gonna be like a super GM and world champion, or is he gonna be just like a normal GM? Like, no question is he gonna be a GM."
This is my favorite to win the tournament, and I have it by the slimmest of margins because I think 12 Teen and J-Kid, I mean, for all the reasons we talked about, that team is incredible, so fast, so good at chess, so dynamic, such strong players. The reason I have this team as my slight favorite is like Jeffrey in form. You could argue there was a point he was 12 Teen level. That's how good and how strong he was on Fix. And this is maybe the only team in the entire tournament that 12 Teen and Blitzball won't have a chess advantage against. And I think we could have a lot of games where these teams are playing super fast, free moving while out the opening, and on one of the boards, everything's straight, and we have essentially just a chess position out of the opening. And in those types of matchups, unless something huge happens on the other board where all this flow came to, like we could see games decided where it's effectively like a bullet game with like Jeffrey against Blitz Bullet or Katas against 12 team. And I would favor them slightly more in those types of contexts. And I just think if Jeffrey gets into form, Jeffrey and Katas are such a strong team. And I have Katas as probably the second best player in the world, just slightly behind 12 team, but it's that team is monstrous. And I'm
Honestly,
just really
honestly,
excited to see these guys play each
it kind
other.
of depends on the match. Honestly, in my opinion, I think 12th is probably better than Katask at Bullet. Jeffrey Young is for sure better than 12th at Bullet. And both Katask and Jeffrey are probably better than Blitz Bullet at Bullet. So it'll be an interesting dynamic. But yeah, I mean, this is such a strong. But another thing that comes into this is how often these guys play Bughouse. Because both, I don't want to say all four of them, but Katask, Jeffrey, and 12 Teen recently haven't played Bughouse very often. Like, it seems like they never get rusty because, like, whenever we see them like jump into high house matches, like high level matches with four players all above 2600, like they seem to immediately be good without like having to warm up. But Blitz Bullet is just consistently playing a lot of Bughouse. The others, like 12 Teen, will take like 3-4 month breaks where he won't play any Bughouse, and then he'll play a bunch. And the same with Katask, the same with Jeffrey. So rustiness may play an element on this. I don't know, and there may be some team dynamics play an element because 12 Teen and Blitz Bullet, they've partnered each other a bunch. They know each other's styles very well. I don't think Katask and Jeffrey have partnered each other that much. So they're going to have to do some warming up to get a feel for each other's styles. But yeah, I mean, they're both really strong teams.
Katask's playstyle reminds me a lot of like old school chicken, like lightning fast. I mean, like even of like current chicken too, but like lightning fast and maybe the best we've ever seen at playing for their partner's board, while still being one of the scariest attackers in all of Bughouse. And Jeffrey Young, when he gets going, facing an attack from him is like facing an attack from 12 team. Like fast, brilliant calculation, super fast, finding accurate mates. That partnership has so much potential, but yeah, like Russ is a huge caveat. Like if those teams are not informed, like if all four of them were to play today, I would pick 12 team and Blitz Bullet to win the match. But if all four of these teams had played, I'm sorry, all four of these players had played a decent amount, like enough to shake off the rust and be in form, I have Katask and Jeffrey as my very, very slight favorite to win the tournament. But it's so close. I'm really excited for all 5 or 6 of these top teams here.
So in this bracket, I'm in Group A, I should say. I'm not familiar with many of these players. Fuzzer, I believe, is from Belgium, and I think that may be Drinka from the Freenet chess server. If it is, then I've met him in Berlin before. The others, the number 4 seed, Tuna 2005 plus High 987. I know Tuna 2005 is Zap, Bughouse coach's daughter. I don't know if High 987 is his other daughter or not, but it's really cool to see like second generation Bughouse players, and the fact that that Zap's daughter is not only playing this tournament, but is in the open section and is not the bottom seed. Like, this is not like an under 2000 player. This is an open section player, second generation Bughouse player, and that's really cool.
So I'm not familiar with like any of the I've seen them play a little bit, but like the 2 and 3 seeds, I'm not super familiar with their play style and their strength. But I just look at the ratings, and Fuzer and Cheba, whatever, I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. I'm just calling Cheba. Cheba, yeah. Fuzer and Cheba, they're 2400 and 2100, and Zeres and Blix LT are 2300. So just in terms of like rating, that's really close. And these are going to be the 2 closest, like 2 and 3 seeds in terms of calculated rating for the tournament. I believe these are the 25th and 26th seeds in the tournament. So they're right behind each other in calculated rating. So that could be an interesting match to watch. But I do believe even a Rusty, Jeffrey, and Katask are going to win every single
Oh
game
yeah,
in this match.
for sure
Yeah.
they're gonna sweep their
Like,
group. Um,
9-0s all around. Not even just winning their matches. I don't think they will drop a single game or a draw. Uh,
I agree. Yeah, and let me see, like, who of these, when we go down the groups, like, what's going to be the first number one seed that's gonna potentially lose a game? I think we have to get to Group D before any of these people will lose a game. I think Miss Fairy Queen and Abby, um, like they're gonna advance for sure. They may lose a game or two. Whereas I don't think Grand Delicious and Zyzon, I don't think they'll lose a game versus any of these players. I don't think 12 Teen and Blitzbullet will lose a game. I don't think
I
Kataska and
think
Jeffrey will lose a game.
I could see Grand Delicious and Zyxon dropping a game or two to the 2400 teams. Like if they're not in form and though like Yogstar and Death Camper play a lot and they're like both around 2400, like I could see them getting a game off of Rusty, Zyxon, and Grand Delicious.
I don't think they will.
I probably wouldn't bet on it. Like I probably do think that they will sweep all of them, but it wouldn't shock me if they won a game. Whereas like in 12 Teen Blitzblood and Katas Jeffrey's group, I would be pretty shocked if a single game was lost.
I think Chicken and Helms might sweep as well. I'm not sure. When we get to Group E, I think Chicken and Helms might not lose a game in the group stage. Plotkin and Grind, I think might lose a game or two. I mean, but Plotkin and Grind, don't get me wrong, they're gonna like win their group for sure. But I don't think they will win every single game.
I'd be pretty shocked if they swept. I mean, I think Quick Dash and Tigers got 2 games off of them in the matchup they played last year as well. And also, I like actually both of those teams I think did quite a lot of prep before their matches, like preparing for their specific opponents. So I think both of those teams are going to be super prepared, and I would be pretty shocked if their opponents didn't get a single game off of them. But
yeah,
I also agree they're going to comfortably advance.
Group G, Caspi has to go against Fumatox. I think they're going to lose a few games there.
That's the 1-2 matchup I think I'm most excited to see right now.
Yeah, so when we get to Group H, King Switcher and Return of the Lagger, it's theoretically possible for them to sweep, but there are some strong teams there. I think Draloth might take a game or two off them. K Higgins and Crackdix could have an upset game or two.
Yeah, because of how variable Lager's style is, I would pretty be shocked if they swept every game through.
Lager's saying in the chat that he's going to sweep.
Lager, what happens when you want to take a pawn and you die for it? Like you'll win all of the matches. I don't think that you'll win every match.
No, but I mean, Lager's style of like taking a bunch of pawns, like King Switcher matches up pretty well with him because King Switcher knows when to sit. Which if you're gonna grab every pawn you can, you need to have a partner who can sit at the right times to not kill you, and King Switcher's pretty good at
that. King Switcher also, it's also weird with like King Switcher does well in positions with relatively low flow. Like he prefers to kind of play like Crazy House for a little bit and like slightly improve his pieces, which I think works well with Return of the Lagger. One of the problems they got a bit into in the past was neither of them are super aggressive players, and when both players kind of want to play with low flow and play for their partner's board, that doesn't work out that well. But Lagger switched up his style. He's playing a lot more Sac City and aggressive recently, but. Yeah, that team I think will comfortably win. I do not think that they will sweep. The team in Group I, Fox and PKM, I also think that they're going to advance. I think that they could sweep, but I would expect the second seed and maybe even the third seed to get at least a game off of them. But Fox and PKM are, of course, both really strong players and also with like complementary styles. Like PKM is one of the safest players in the world and likes to play for his partner's board. And Fox is just a crazy good attacker, but unlike most sack sitters, he's actually fast. which is a very rare trait to find in sack sitters in Bughouse.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the under 2000 section.
Oh yeah, for sure. I won't have super long explanations because the overall
Yeah,
majority of
no,
these players I don't know
I
anything
don't
about.
like I don't know a lot of these players. I'm sort of gonna scroll down till I see names. Or actually,
I'll let you
last time
point
we
something
started from the
out.
bottom. Let's start from the bottom and scroll up. So we
Okay.
see some names we're familiar with. Matches to watch.
Yeah, I'll pull up the
I'm
bracket.
like I said, I'm honestly not familiar with a bunch of these people. Um, and there's just a ton of entrants here. Like I said, there's 180 teams
So
in the under 2000 section.
in terms of seeding, if we go all the way to the bottom group, that will be the 32nd seed and the 33rd seed in them.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I understand. I'm kind of looking for
well, that's
names that
actually
I'm really
two
familiar
familiar
with that
players,
I
yeah.
see a lot in the random pool. And
So in Group
honestly, I
AF,
haven't.
they have David Crew and Damian Lowe. I believe they're chess players and streamers.
Okay.
Um, so like that's I'm not going to pretend to know anything about any of these players or their styles, but chess players in the U2000 section, chess players are really bad at Buckhouse at first because you learn, oh, pieces can just appear, and I can't play chess. Like I have to play it much safer than I would in terms of chess. But chess players also improve at a much faster rate than your
Yeah.
typical Buckhouse players. So while these players might not have a ton of experience early on in Buckhouse, any of these players with really strong chess players are just getting to Buckhouse, they have huge potential to really be monsters by the end of the tournament. So that's a team that we'll want to keep an eye out for, David Crew and Damian Lowe.
Okay.
Um, I think in a similar vein, in group, see, group M, we have
Wait,
Anna
you
and
got
hashtag
up
chess. Yeah.
to M already? No.
Well,
Let's
no,
keep scrolling up.
okay, sorry. No, I was just thinking of another group of
No,
streamers that
no,
are
yeah,
also good at
yeah.
chess.
We'll
Yeah.
get to them, but
Okay, we
I'm
can
just
go
gonna
in order.
slowly scroll up until I see people that I'm familiar with. Which
Okay.
so wait, in Group AC, the Casper plus Lucas. Is Casper, is that the same guy who
That
got
is
like?
not that is not the caster who is a moderator for BWC.
No.
Um,
I'm wondering if it's the Casper who's like. Isn't there a Casper who's like an international master and really good at Puzzle Rush, or am I thinking of someone else?
oh, yeah, he another UTD alum.
But that's not
his
him,
name is
or
Casper with a K though, so
oh, okay,
I'm
yeah,
fairly
yeah,
certain that's
probably
not
not
him.
then. Okay,
And I think his account is like Kasperov or something like that.
okay.
Uh, this Casper seems to be a Finnish player with a rating of 1961 in Bughouse. Uh, yeah, don't know much more about these players, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Group Z. Group C, we
right.
have third seed is Phil Greek and Radon. And Radon is 7991 Radon from the chat earlier. And he is a very strong 4-player chess player.
Oh,
And Radon, he also finished pretty well in the Chess Done Quick Variants Edition, so he's also good at Fog of War. So Radon has a lot of potential to get really good at Bughouse if he actually cared about the game. My impression watching so far is he doesn't really care about the game and hasn't really tried to learn. Because
that looks like a team that we could maybe.
despite playing this game, on and off, maybe once every few weeks for like a year, he always plays it by sacking on F2 or F7 and immediately demanding that his partner give him. So he'll sack on F2 and then he'll say, we win, give me 2 knights and a bishop. And then he will just wait for the rest of the game for the 2 knights and the bishop. And if they come, then like he wins. If they don't come, then he just flags. So my suggestion for Radon, if he's watching, is stop doing that. Just develop your pieces. Oh, he also in an earlier stream, when I told people the standard Bughouse piece values that most people accept, which is queen is 4, every other piece is 2, a pawn is 1. So 2 pieces for a queen is an even trade. 2 pieces for a pawn is an even trade. He said his piece values are, I think he said like a pawn is 2, a queen is 1, and a knight is 20.
Kids don't do drugs.
So he
Don't end up
values
like this.
knights a lot. So even if they're not favorites to win or progress, these will be fun games to watch whenever Raydon is involved.
So I just like to talk to all the U2000 players for a second here. If you really want to improve at this game, everyone loves the sacking and attacking, and playing with the initiative is a very, very important part of being a Bughouse player. Also, checkmating when you sack all of the pieces and your partner gets you 5 million pieces, that's the easy part. Everyone can figure out how to do that. If you really want to improve, work on rounding your game. I see so many players in this 1800, 1900 range that are very good at attacking for their level, but they never really learn how to be complete Bughouse players.
Yeah,
so they're losing a lot of value.
You have to learn how to defend. You have to learn how to play fast, and you have to learn how to help your partner by feeding your partner pieces he needs. You have to learn how to coordinate by holding pieces or stalling when pieces are bad for your partner. But I think a problem that a lot of players have, especially at the low levels, is they think of their board as the center of the universe, where their attack is all that matters, and they think of the other board as a magical fairyland where pieces come from, and they never really look at their board or think about what is happening in their partner's world. And if the right pieces don't come from magical fairyland, then that must be the partner's fault. If checkmate or flag somehow happens on the other board, that must be entirely the partner's fault and not the fault of them who sacked like 50 pieces. The way I like to look at it instead is every time you sack a piece, you are down a piece on your board, and your partner is also down a piece on his board. So sacking is like doubly bad. Sacking is doubly bad from normal chess, because you every time you sack, you lose on both boards, not just on your board. Every time you win a piece, you win a piece on your board, and you get like one less piece that's in your face on your board, and your partner has one extra piece to drop. So it's even more important to win pieces. So that's something that people really need to keep in mind.
And that is a skill that like top players have really like honed through lots of experiences. Evaluating whose position we should play for, given the position on both boards, because there will be times where it does make sense for your partner to sacrifice their position to play for your board.
That's kind of like an intermediate thing. Like at the low levels, people are like, "Oh, my board is the only thing that matters. The other board is magical fairyland." Like one level up is, I see people who would be like before the game starts, like they'll turn to each other and they'll be like, "Okay, which one of us is the maiden board and which one of us is the feeding board?" Okay, I'm going to be the maiden board, so all you need to do is get me whatever I want, and I will mate on here. Like, your job is to feed me pieces on that board. But in reality, at the higher level, there is not a maiden board and there's a feeding board. Like, that sort of shifts depending on the situation. So it may be that one player is attacking and has a great attack, and then all of a sudden you might look over and your partner has like a better situation than you. So all of a sudden you're not the attacking board. All of a sudden you are the get my partner everything he wants board. And I like to play that my partner and I are both always like pretty aggressive, pretty close to attacking, and we're both winning pieces. So that you don't have to choose one or the other, that one board is only living to serve the other board.
Yeah, I'm a fairly balanced, like I'm like capable of like playing somewhat actively, but I definitely skew more towards playing for my partner's board. Like I'm probably going to do best in situations where I have a relatively fast partner who likes to attack, just because like I'm better at feeding my partner and like moving really fast to try and stay uptime.
And that's an unusual that's an unusual thing in Bughouse. Like most players um, play for themselves, and most players who are at the higher levels are known to be good because of how good they are at attacking, um, or known to be good because they're very fast, or known to be good because they coordinate well. Not many players are known to be good because they feed their partner exactly what they need. So there's one player who stands out in the free internet chess server years was Who Am I, who wrote the Thief interface, who coded the Thief interface. He was known for being a player who was really good at Bughouse because he would give his partner anything they wanted, and he always his positions would always have every single type of piece in take. So if his partner said, "I need a knight," he would always be one move away from taking a knight, one move away from taking a rook. Like he would always have everything in take.
Oh, and quick pro tip for especially players in the U2000 section. One thing you really want to work on improving and training yourself on, especially those of you who like to attack, don't wait until you need the piece to ask for the piece. A lot of people will get into a position where a knight's checkmate and they're like, oh, give me a knight, give me a knight, which isn't always easy. We're not always going to have partners like Who Am I who can get it for you instantly.
Right.
So try and predict what pieces you might need and what pieces might be good, and really communicate to that partner.
Yeah, so
your partner.
There's a few insights there. Yeah, first of all, like the earlier you tell your partner that a particular piece is good or pieces are good in general, the better, because it lets your partner adapt closer to the situation and know that they are going for a particular piece or for pieces. The other thing to keep in mind is um, there's a difference between sack sitters and sack movers, and this was like a revelation that I had. Like it back in the really old days of Fix, there were solid players and there were sack sitters, and the solid players would just like develop pieces, have a solid position, slowly grind out attacks, be fairly safe. The sack sitters, they would the bishop takes f7, they would like move their knight out and they would like wait for the perfect piece. And then there was a revelation where we began to see players who would sack, but after they sacked and they got the king into like a long-term like weak position, where that king would have like a lot of holes in his position, instead of waiting for the perfect piece, they would make a lot of in-between moves to keep developing their pieces, keep making threats. So to keep increasing the time advantage and bring it marshaling more resources. That eventually, even if your opponent defended, that you were, by continuing to move, you weren't getting down time, and you were continuing to improve the position from the perspective of both boards. The other insight is something that I learned from Firefly, from Zyzon, which is a lot of players. Radon is a good example of this. Radon would sack a bishop, and then he'd be like, "All right, I need 2 bishops and a knight," and he would wait for them. Another example is True Player. True Player, he would sack a queen on like f2 or f7, and then he'd say, "All right, he's dead. Give me 2 bishops." Whereas so something that Firefly taught me is, instead of sacking and then asking for a piece, wait to sack. So instead of sacking your queen and then saying, "Give me 2 bishops" or "Give me a knight," he would say like, "Can you get me 2 bishops and a knight?" And he would wait. And if his partner got him 2 bishops or a knight, then he would sack and do that. If his partner didn't give him the 2 bishops or a knight, he had not sacked yet. So he was just like, okay, I don't have the pieces I need, so I'm not going to sack. So you don't need to sack first and get the pieces later. You can say, "Get me the pieces, and if I get them, I will sack."
Very important. I must note, Katask and 12 are playing.
They are.
So I think this calls our attention. And just to expand on what Chuck said, just to really clarify, that doesn't mean wait to sack and then sit for 10 seconds until you get the piece that you want and then sack. It means communicate with your partner. Ask, can you get me this piece? And if the answer is no, then you keep moving and you
Yeah,
don't wait forever for the piece.
right, for sure. I'm just gonna scroll up real quick to see if there's other players that we want to look at before we look at 12 teen. Um, and I don't see that. Okay, so Lucci and Joanna Tries. That's Peppa Lou and Joanna Tries.
Oh,
They're both
another
streamers
returning team from
in
last year.
group U. That's going to be a fun team to watch, and they are the number 2 seed in their group. So hopefully they will advance.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
know who the number one seed is, but they might want to watch it. Like that's a team that could pull off some ups. I think
for
Joanna
sure.
is around like 1300 in Buckhouse, but she's a lot stronger in Crazy House,
Yeah, and
so
she's
she
played a
could.
ton of Crazy House even since last year, so she's improved a lot in Crazy House. And Peppa Lou is
Yeah,
for
that
sure
is not a
underrated.
team I would want to face in my bracket if I were the number one seed. That's a scary team for sure.
Yeah. Let's
And
see. Oh,
Pepe Lu is one of the strongest players in the U2000 section. Like he's a strong
right.
1900 plus Bughouse
In
player.
Group S, we have Putin and Miss Jenny. I'm not that familiar with Putin, but Miss Jenny plays just a ton of Bughouse and loves the game. So she for sure has upset potential in her group. Um, let's see. So I'm
Yeah, she
rolling up
plays
with
with a
Group
lot
R.
of really strong players, like 2600 plus players. So she's had a lot of practice coordinating with her partners, much so more so than the average like 1400, 1500 rated player. So that team might have a coordinating advantage over the other teams in the group. That's another like scary number two seed. Like that's not a team that I want to face as the number two seed or as a number one seed in my group.
In Group P, we have Chess Heroes Comp plus Coach Hakia, and
Oh, another
they
returning team from last year.
yeah, another returning team, and they stream as Chess Heroes. Um, so they will probably stream their games.
If
And
I recall
they
correctly,
love Bughouse.
didn't Chess Heroes didn't they play against Joanna and Lelucci?
I think they did at one point. It's kind of funny because Coach Hakia, he likes playing this like H4, H5, pawn at uh, a pawn at G6 type of opening with which is a very aggressive attacking move. And if you don't know what you're doing, and if there's a lot of feed on the other board, that just like rolls through players. Um, so we're probably going to see a lot of that attack. Or if people are unfamiliar with them, they're just going to like sweep with that. But this is another team that could improve a lot if they worked on their Bughouse. I, I think that both of these players, especially Andrew, Chess Heroes Comp, really loves playing Bughouse, but figures that more people want to watch chess than Bughouse, so doesn't stream much Bughouse. But he would love to play a lot more Bughouse because he likes Bughouse more than chess. Um, but yeah, that's a team to watch for sure. So let's see. Going up, uh, who else do we see? Okay, in Group M, we have Anamaya plus hashtag chess Twitch. So both streamers. Anamaya has a crazy house rating actually of like 2300 or something like that. We did allow her in the under 2000 section because she had not played that many Bughouse games before, so we thought her Bughouse rating at the time didn't reflect her true strength. Um,
And her Buckhouse rating wasn't 20, like her calculated rank for a tournament, I think was like 1400. So while she had a strong uh oh, I might be getting their ratings confused,
Yeah,
but they
no, I
both
think you're
had a
confused.
under.
Hashtag chess had like a 1400 Buckhouse rating.
Oh, that's right. Okay, okay.
Anna Maya had a higher Buckhouse rating. And honestly, recently they've only played with each other. So their ratings have gone up. And Anna Maya's like seemingly has gone like, higher than 2000. Is it like 2200 now or something like that? But that's probably because they only play with each other. Because like watching their games, I feel like hashtag chess is underrated and Anamaya is overrated, which is something that is not going to be corrected much if they only play with each other. But yeah, this is a team to watch for sure because they're both very good at chess and again can improve much faster at Bughouse than players who aren't good at chess.
Oh yeah, like very similar to David Crew and Damian Lowe, like two players who aren't the best Bughouse players right now. Like they're still very green, but both very talented chess players who could really be scary come the later phases of the tournament. So that's another team I would definitely keep an eye out for in the U2000 section.
So in Group L, Mima Sheriff, I think, is a streamer, if I'm thinking of the right person. So it's another streamer there. Let's see. Group K, we have top seed Reinhardt, 9 Gold, and Death by Checkmate. Death by Checkmate is a streamer. And he loves playing Bughouse. He's mostly switched to 4-player chess. Honestly, I think because the 4-player chess community is more welcoming than the Bughouse community. So as a streamer, it's kind of easier to stream 4-player chess. But like his first love is Bughouse, and he plays a ton of Bughouse, and he's very good at it. So that's a team to watch.
I think that could be a dark horse to win the tour. I've played quite a bit with Reinhardt in the past, and he's always been rated like around like 1900 or so. But
Yeah,
I've always felt he is much stronger than his rank. Like I do quite well when I've partnered him in the past. So
yeah.
that team could win the whole
I agree.
thing.
This team for sure is a possibility to win the whole under 2000 section. Number 2 seed is Josh plus Victoria. And as you can imagine by these usernames, these are chess.com staff. We're able to swipe really good usernames on chess.com. So this is an all-staff team. So if you're playing a match against them, I would suggest not insulting them because they could just
can
ban
they pull up the
you.
light switch? Can they force disconnect? Hold up.
Yeah. So Midnight Fox, we're gonna watch them for sure. I'm just scrolling up like real quick to see people that we are familiar with here. And then once we're through that, we'll look at the match. And honestly, I'm not familiar with most of these people anyway, so this is going to be a quick process. Blunderman 1, we're familiar with him. He's partnered in NZ Worldwide, and he's a top seed. Blunderman is another possibility to win the whole thing. Probably underrated.
Team, I think finished either third or fourth.
I take back everything I saw. I just saw Group F. Plaster Hippie Twitch and GMB MW. That is like a super strong team. Plaster Hippie is a streamer and has improved immensely at Bughouse, is now over 2000. And he watches like most of my streams, and he's been improving a lot. And it's kind of annoying because like he's watched so many of my streams that he's figured out how to crack most of my openings. Which, if you're gonna play against me, please don't watch my streams, or forget everything you learned. But if you're gonna partner me, then definitely watch my streams. All right, so let's scroll up here. Okay, Group D, we have Swole19 and Joe Bruin, who are both streamers, and we have Chessy Club and E4 BC. Well, that's basically 4-player chess. The E4 is 4-player chess. Chessy Club is Madalena I forget her last name, but she's an NM, I believe. And Luke is very good at 4-player chess, and he's watched a bunch of my streams. I hope to see Luke and Chessy Club improve a lot at Bughouse. Swole and Joe Bruin, they both love Bughouse, and they both partnered each other a lot. Swole has improved immensely, and Joe Bruin partners Swole a lot, also partners Nicholas Tice a lot. So I think that these guys are possibilities to win the whole tournament.
Oh yeah, so we talked about like how much Plaster Hippie has improved in recent weeks, and he has improved a bunch, but I still don't think by any stretch of the imagination they're like overwhelming favorites to win this tournament. Like any of these players could show massive improvements, and the winner could be a team that's completely under the radar that we aren't even thinking about.
That's what happened last year, by the way. There were teams completely under the radar that just swept. Okay, so just scrolling up real quickly. Good Gamer and Cannot Give You a Tempo. I'm not familiar with Cannot Give You a Tempo, but Good Gamer is in the random pool constantly. He plays all the time. So that's another possible guy to win the whole tournament. Another
player with a ton of experience.
Right. Let's see. In Group B, the number 3 seed, Small Q Power 11, he is a streamer. His streams don't get many viewers. He usually has like 1 or 2 viewers, but he plays Bughouse a lot. I believe he's from China. So hopefully he'll be improving and playing more Bughouse. And then Group A, I'm familiar with Check for Chess. I see him play a lot. Yeah, I think that's basically it for this group. Let's check out the 12 team games, assuming they're still going on.
Oh yes, it's been insane. That's
okay.
We're seeing some incredibly high level play. So we've got Katask and Schoolmeister, who is Opera Wasn't from Lichess. We talked about him a little bit earlier. Insanely good Crazy House player. Not as familiar with Bughouse, still very strong, but he can find his king getting a little unsafe sometimes because just the piece flow is quite a bit different than we see in Bughouse. Here we see Katask actually getting mated, and yeah, they just resigned there. Yeah, Opera and Katask have a slight lead over Cabbage and 12 to this point, and it's tied. Never mind.
The score is now 6-6.
Like a very, very slight surprise. Like I think that 12 and Cabbage are the better team, but I mean this score sounds about right. Like these are two very evenly matched teams.
12 is
Cabbage
slightly
has a ton
up.
of pressure here. We're gonna see like Bishop E3 from Opera Wasn't. Like how these dark squares are. If Bishop E3, he's not even gonna take the queen. He's probably gonna go pawn at G3. Or pawn G6. Well, what's Opera trying to cook up here? Anyone else plays pawn at G6?
Maybe he was hoping for like a pre-move. I feel like that's the only thing it could be.
What is this?
He's just trying to get G6, I went
G8.
I don't really agree with taking the queen there. I think it was done for the benefit of his partner, though.
Yeah. So they're going to lose this game, but can we take a moment to appreciate that Opera? So what is pawn at G6, H takes, Bishop G7, Rook takes pawn at H7?
That is
what in the world?
That is an initiative hog type of move there. And we've seen some Bughouse players who are just initiative hogs who will do anything to get check. And honestly, that's kind of Helm's Knight style. If I had to pin someone down with that, is like material doesn't matter. Also J Killer. So J Killer and Helm's Knight are known for being initiative hogs. Like anything to grab check and be the one attacking.
Right here. So the difference here is one I think obviously that isn't like how Opera plays normally, but like in that particular position, like I also think that you have to try and make something happen because the dark squares are so bad. I'm more so just amazed at being able to even find an idea there because it looked like there was literally nothing in that position. Even though they still end up losing the game, that was insane that he managed to generate literally anything from that position. So what's happened? These games are so hard to track. Cabbage seems to be in some trouble here. He's probably just mated. Yeah. Pawn and P5. Are they up on time? 12's gonna try and chess. Whoa, actually he might check. Whoa, you can't stop mate here. Yeah, they win here. Like Queen F8 and Queen G7, you can't defend both of these squares.
Yeah. So Katask would like one pawn to checkmate, but he's not gonna get it. He could play knight at G3 to gain like a second, but
yeah, no, I think you have to go knight at E6, but 12 seems too fast. You're just gonna go Queen E8, and then your only move is knight F8, and then he takes and you're mated. I said you can't defend those two squares. Technically, you can defend them. You can go knight at E6, but there's a third square, E8, which is awesome. Yeah, I think he just. What did I just mean? Why wasn't Queen F8 played? Was that not made in one? Okay, well, I mean, this is all the same. This is pre-movable mate, and yeah, and they're uptime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Katask didn't realize that his partner had mate in the time situation. He maybe could have, instead of knight h4, he could have gone bishop h3 check, just to get his rook defending the back rank. But once the king was on h1, there were no more checks. The margin in these games is just razor thin. This is so exciting to watch. Wait, are Opera and Cabbage moving? I'm not seeing anything. Wait. Did Opera just sit for 10 seconds to play knight at g4?
Apparently.
Okay, I thought that chess.com was bugging for me. But Opera just went full Jubla.
There's a fine line between chess.com bugging out and Schoolmeister being a filthy sack suitor.
Kids, don't try this at home. Please do not sit for 10 seconds to play knight at g4 on move 3. We cannot condone this type of behavior. And look, and he's getting rightfully punished. Opera deserves everything that is happening to him right now. Am I crazy? Wasn't rook d5 made in 1? I mean, he's still gonna get made it.
It was made in 1.
Okay. No, I'm all for prolonging the suffering. Fortunately, they're uptime because if 12-10 had to play this position against Katask in chess, you were just losing here. They're up about 13 seconds. Okay, yeah. No, don't leave. Please.
They're all saying GG.
We need you. Someone step up and be the hero America needs.
Maybe we should check our schedule again. Is there any match coming up here?
I think the next match is Naveen and...
Oh, that's a while from now. I don't think I can last that long.
Yeah, me either. If I am still streaming you at then I'm going to be disappointed in myself. It's like a series of poor life decisions will have had to be made to get to that point. And that was seriously fun to watch. I'm sad that they're not keep going.
Very sad. Does anyone have any more questions about the Bughouse World Championship?
I have a question. Grind, why aren't you playing right now?
That's a great question.
Step in the ring.
If I am ending the stream now-ish, there is a 4-player chess stream I can raid. I don't see any Bughouse streams going on right now.
I'm not sure if they're setting up another... 12-10 has to go. Oh, sad times.
It is sad times.
I'm sorry, I just read chat. 1800 Shink said 24-hour stream. Get out of my life forever. How dare you even say those words?
Rashad Lager says he's down to play in 5 minutes.
If there's more High House, I will probably be watching whether you're streaming or not. But I mean, if I'm going to be watching, I'm down to stay in a chat with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling down to see if any other interesting bug games going on. I don't see any names that jump out at me.
Yeah, we got some 2400s, but Vectorveld's playing, who played a little bit earlier today, but yeah, not none of the big boys right now. I don't think I ever asked earlier when we're going through the open section. If you had to pick right now, like, who is your favorite to win the open tournament?
That's a good question. I don't, for me it's really close. I honestly I still think that 12-team Blitz Bullet are a favorite over Jeffrey Zhang and Katask. Just because I think they've played a lot more games than Jeffrey and Katask. And I think that depth of experience may come into play. But yeah, the point you made earlier is for sure correct that both Jeffrey and Katask are stronger chess players overall than 12-teen and 12-teen and Blitz Bullet. But yeah, I still think that 12-teen and Blitz Bullet are the favorites for the open section. What we found last year, honestly, was that like watching and commentating on the under 2000 matches was even more fun than the open section because just wild stuff can happen in the under 2000 section, whereas the open section is like a lot more predictable.
Yeah,
Um,
in U 2000, you and I both know what's going on. When we're commentating those top players match, we're pretending to know what's happening. Like we have an inkling of like sort of what's going on, but we don't actually know what's going on.
yeah, as a commentator, it definitely helps to feel like you're better than the players, which I do not feel like I'm
I mean,
in
I don't
any
need to
way
feel
better
better than
than.
them. I just want to feel like I'm in the same room to be having a conversation of like reasonably in the same like facsimile of goodness at Bughouse. Like, can I get into the same room? And some of these top players, the bouncer is stopping me at the door. I am not getting through.
Makes sense.
Uh,
Um, yeah. Well, if we have nothing else to talk about, then I think it's probably time for a raid.
yeah, sounds good.
So
Thanks for having me on, Chuck.
yeah, thank you so much for joining me, Scary Snakes. And again, if any of you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to one of the organizers. The best place to ask us questions is in the BWC Discord server, where you can ask in the questions channel, because then other people who have the same questions can learn from that.
And in that same note, there's also a help forum on chess.com that you can also ask questions on, where everyone will be able to see the answers.
Yeah, so let me just make sure this player is still live, but I think they are. And if they are, we're gonna give them a raid because they are playing some 4-player chess.
All right, well, I'm gonna head out. You have a good one, Chuck. Take care.
Yeah, have a good one too. Thanks so much, Scary Snakes.
All right, bye.
All right. So we're gonna send you all to official Jay Lara, who is streaming some 4-player chess. Maybe among the first times they're playing 4-player chess. Seems to be rated about 14 to 1500. But at a minimum, let them know that you love 4-player chess and want to see more of it. And I'm going to be streaming a lot of Bughouse matches in the coming 5 weeks here. So we're going to have, usually I only stream Tuesday and Wednesday nights, but we're going to have a lot more streams just in the middle of the day of interesting Bughouse matches. So I hope to see more of you there. Hopefully it meets with more people's schedules, because I know a lot of people complain that they're asleep when I stream. And tonight I will be streaming, I think I'm still streaming 4-player chess at 1 a.m. Eastern time like I usually do. So we'll see you 4-player chess fans there. Anyway, have a great night, everyone. Or sorry, have a great I'm used to saying have a great night. It's always the night. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Bye.